Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Franklin Loses His Property. Uh, uh, Today is episode 598. Hey, Blaine just jumped in. Hey, Blaine, how are you?
Hey,
In a wild
598
plan.
of the Council on Future Conflict, domestic political conflict. I mean, that's a kind of a catch-all because there's a lot of sniping going on in the political world. So we're going to be talking about a little bit of that. And they really want a war. And when I say they, I mean Europe. Europe really wants a war, and they're spoiling for it. And that's the only thing I can figure. And while Franklin is not an actual point of discussion today, we talked about him on Wednesday. I just wanted to, use our thumbnail to endorse the best meme product. Guys, is this the best meme ever?
Oh yeah, and what makes it better was Franklin's publisher throwing an absolute fit about it, which only made matters worse because it does fall under the fair use guidelines, even in Canada.
100%. So. Even in Canada, that's exactly right. So anyway, I am just fair using the shit out of Franklin this morning for our thumbnail. So.
And I'm going to go ahead and take credit for that idea, by the way.
Yes, because Joe was like, we should have had Franklin on the thumbnail on Wednesday because we actually were talking about Franklin, but we weren't smart enough and fast enough to do that. So I spent that was one of the reasons why we were a stitch bit late this morning as I was putting that together. So
aside from the fact that I overslept and made everyone late, and it's my fault.
In fairness, Joe, you did show up prior to the scheduled start time of what is it? Is it 8:15 Eastern?
Yeah.
And it's what 8:40. So you were good. So technically it wasn't your fault, Joe. So speaking of which, has the snow started yet there, Joe? I know you had like about 8 inches on the ground the other day.
It has not. It's supposed to very, very soon. And so, which sucks because I have to drive up to Kalispell today to be at the Kalispell Arms Show, where I'll be all weekend. If anyone wants to come by, get a book signed, bring me a sandwich. I don't know. I'll just be sitting at a table doing nothing. But Blaine, since you're here, I wanted to, show you the Pure Blood bat.
I love it.
Good stuff. In honor of Blue Dawn 6 coming out, right?
That's right, Blaine. We were talking about Blue Dawn 6 the other day, and it's look it's in your grubby hand.
Yeah, it's got one in hand.
Hey, Blaine, I just want to say this is a good opportunity to transition over to you. I read Blue Dawn. I think I got a copy of the first one in not hardcover, but like a hard version. At some point I want to link up with you because I want to get like all 6 and I want to get you to sign them all for me because know that is just Blue Dawn for me is just like the apex of just how bad it could have gone and how bad they really messed up. And I mean theoretically I guess it still can go that way.
That's right. Very, very clear.
I'll tell you, in the library just down this hall, several of you know about it. I've been in the library, right, where the liquor is. There's a Blaine Pardoe section, but sadly, it's right next to the Mark Sibley section. So there's the Mark Sibley section. Here's the Blaine Pardoe section. So I mean, a little disparity.
And I do have something to show you this morning in terms of snow.
Hold on. Maybe I can actually catch
Look at that.
There we go.
Yeah. It's all white out there.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I have a group chat with all the boys from North Carolina, and they're whining about their snow. And I said, that's cute.
Yeah, I know. It's like literally like a quarter to a half an inch, and they shut everything down.
Wait, I mean, don't you remember Snowmageddon? What was it, 10, 12 years ago, something like that? Yeah. That was next level. But, yeah. The entire U.S. government got shut down over that.
And no one noticed.
And no
And no
one
one-
noticed a thing, and nothing good was lost.
Nothing of value was lost. That's exactly right. Blaine, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing awesome. I mean, I tell you, we've been consuming your weekly updates, and I tell you, you got a lot of ammo this week.
Every week I get served up more and more stuff. This has been wild. And this guy up in Woodbridge that they caught for the bombing was just hilarious because we already now know more about him than we did the shooter up in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on the Butler shooting. I mean, the funny thing is Don Jr. was on somebody's podcast. Maybe it was Joe Rogan. I can't remember, but and he was like, "Yeah, we still don't know anything about it. Like we, the family, that we're getting shot at that day, don't know, much about that." And I just can't believe he's lying about that. That rings too true. So.
I have to comment on something before we move on. Duke of Malta says that all of his Blaine Pardoe books are on Kindle, except for the 4 ones that he got signed by.
That's it.
And I have to say that I too mostly collect my Blaine Pardoe books on Kindle because I do not yet have enough money to add a new wing onto the family library for the necessary shelf space.
All right. Old Hong Kong, or AKA Jim, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm just reveling in the fact that France is getting 2 giant pandas. So
France is getting, that's right, because Macron's in China this week, right?
knee pads and all. Yeah.
he is a master of that.
Yeah. They're the guys who funded and built the Wuhan lab. Most people don't know that.
I did not know that. I thought that was Eco Health Alliance.
It's a French lab.
What
It's
are
a
the
gift
cool
to the
things
Chinese
about
PLA.
about being old Hong Kong of the North is he has now met Staff Sergeant Thor in person, and the women folk of the old Hong Kong household just love the beast. So that's a good thing.
It was a good interaction.
Old Hong Kong, I hear that once you weather your entire first Montana winter without going snowbird, you get your Klondike tab.
Dude, I arrived here snowbird. Are you kidding?
So speaking of the snowy north, my daughter has discovered the YouTube videos about basically the Canadians are, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and British Columbia are all basically laying the groundworks to leave Canada and either become independent or join the U.S.
So you're saying Canadians are revolting?
Almost.
Canadians are revolted.
they are revolting. Oh, I mean,
It was history of the world, right? So the peasants are revolting. They've always been revolting. They stink on ice.
Yeah, I know, right? Does anybody hold out any like positive for the new Spaceballs? By the way, speaking of Mel Brooks,
No, I'm sorry. They're even. I used to look when they would say that they're adapting one of the things that I love or they're rebooting it. I would be so excited. I really would. I'd be one of the first people like digging into who's doing all the work.
Yeah.
Now it's literally just it's an icicle of dread that goes through my heart. When I heard that they're making Neuromancer, I legitimately was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna vomit.
I'm almost on the edge with the new Lethal Weapon. That I'm not so sure it's a good thing.
Oh no! Well, we definitely need the Nakatomi Center. We need a new Christmas movie badly.
That's true.
What's the concept for the Lethal Weapon one? Is it a reboot or like the original characters going to
It's
like
the original characters, Joe Pesci and Danny Glover and
Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson are getting back together for another Lethal Weapon, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I fell for that with Beverly Hills Cop and
Ancient police back at work.
Yeah, Blaine, can I just say the Beverly Hills? I thought that Eddie Murphy was great.
Yes.
But let me just tell the problem is they completely sidelined him in that for what his daughter was like the bestest ever. She was another Mary Sue, Ray kind of character, better than her dad in every way, and in the first movie outing, type thing. And it was just like,
Yeah.
What have they done to our boy?
Yep. They
Anyway.
were trying to cue it up, and they did the same thing with the last Indiana Jones. We have to bring a woman in, and we're going to pump her up as the replacement. And guess what? It didn't work.
The sad thing is that the 80s provided all these great male action movies, but they also provided the map of how to make female led action movies that work. Whether it's Terminator, whether it's Aliens. I mean,
Barbarella.
Ripley was what's that?
Barbarella.
Yeah.
Barbarella. But like Ripley was never the baddest person on the thing. She was just the most resilient, the kind of the one that would never give up. That's the one thing that she would do. And like she was a great character on her own, and she wasn't competing with Hicks and Hudson and all.
I'm confused. I thought the heroine was Vasquez.
Well,
she was the real star of the show.
Well, she sacrificed her life so the others may live.
Yeah.
I was proud of Mark Greaney for sticking to his guns when Sony came to him to buy the movie The Gray Man. They were going to cast Charlize Theron as the Gray Man, and he was like, "No, absolutely not. I'll never sell another book if you do that. It says The Gray Man."
Yeah.
But then he rolled over on every other aspect of the book because the movie is literally not what the book is about. So,
this could be a running joke, I can tell.
All right.
Watcher, and he's just watching videos. So,
Watcher, how are you doing? Watching Franklin the AI videos.
I'm doing great, and I'm doing great for three reasons, and I'll try and go through them as quickly as I can. First of all, I just have to give like a cosmic thank you out there. As long as we're talking about snow equipment, I had something amazing happen. You guys remember how I talked about Widows just being like a landscaper's just like legitimately, I love Widows. They're the best.
Yeah.
Well, so there was one that I was taking care of at a steeply discounted rate, just out of the goodness of my heart, because she needed the help, and her husband passed not that long ago, and not very old, I will add, like old, but not old enough.
This is like the opening to a porn movie, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, no, but
Exactly
she came to me.
He is taking care of the widow.
No. Listen, she came to me 2 days ago as I was finishing up doing like getting her yard ready for the winter, and went, "Hey, I want you to have this," and opened up her garage and presented me with a it's like a $1,300 snowblower, like the giant kind with the big tank wheels and everything. She's like, "This is my husband's. It's too big for me. I can't even move it, let alone use it." But yeah, so obviously I'm going to give her like full credit, like whatever that's worth. We're going to give her that much free credit and service going forward, but like huge deal for me. So I'm doing excellent for that. I'm also doing excellent because it turns out, and I'm going to lead you through a short story here about why I have the greatest Secretary of War who has ever lived. Cue the slide. Chuck Schumer. Pete Hegseth is not qualified to serve as Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War. Our troops deserve better. He must resign. To which a random commentator said, "Every new attack aimed at Pete Hegseth makes me want another narco boat blown up and sent to the bottom of the ocean." To which Pete Hegseth said, "Your wish is my command, Andrew. I just sank another narco boat."
We do not deserve him.
Oh, we don't. We absolutely don't.
And reason number 3, why I'm doing great, just absolutely great, fantastic today, is, well,
today is fine day in California.
I love
Dear
that
Lord.
clip, by the way.
I need to clip that one so we just have it in the archive. But yeah, no, I'm doing excellent. Once this ends, I'm gonna go Well, a little inside baseball here. Once the show's over here, I'm skipping on over to a certain book publisher to put in a little bit of an order for a certain comic book that a great and famous comic book author might have made in conjunction with another great and famous regular author.
Yay!
Yeah. So we've got the print file complete for Land and Sea. It's going to the printers. It should be back within, what do you watch it, about a 2-week turnaround, right?
Generally, that's their turnaround. I don't know right now because it's the Christmas. So
yeah, we've got the miniatures should be here within that 2 weeks. The bookmarks and I think we got posters. And everything will be ready to start shipping here, right before Christmas. So it is literally possible that some of the people will get their Land and Sea before that. I'm gonna tell Watcher to basically ship the easiest stuff first, and then also Watcher, we're still doing it where the miniature ship separately from the book, or did you figure out a way to ship them both together?
I think I have figured out a way. We like you said, I'm gonna do a prototyping and send you guys a picture of it. So
okay, all right, yeah. Sometimes
spend some time with a razor blade.
Believe it or not, sometimes the shipping is harder than some of the production of the stuff. So
as I have found out, yeah,
because the post office isn't busy at all.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, luckily I have turned my office into a private post office, but it is the delivery portion of it now, which has been a big deal. So if you're on the last campaign and you've seen it shipped and then it takes longer, that's because the post office is telling me if I want to bring in more than 20 pieces of mail, I have to schedule it with them in advance. So
yeah.
I had a post.
And by the way, the book rate stuff the price has definitely gone up on that.
Prices got them on everything, mail. Like I mailed something to somebody that was $17 just the other day. Lee, you ought to be grateful. But yeah, actually, I know he's in the chat. The post office always has these temporary price increases that are always temporary or always permanent. And the post office thing, I had them try that with me once. Watcher, they were like, "You only bring in 5 pieces of mail at a time." I said, "Okay, you can either take all 20 of these right now, or you process these 5. I get in line. We do the next 5. I get in line. I'm going to take them all right now." And when she said, "No, we won't," I said, "All right, can you pull out the book then and show me where in the postal code it says this?" "Well, it doesn't. It's just our rule." "Okay, well, you're taking them all today."
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
This is a true story. I was at the post office about a month ago. The person ahead of me was complaining. And he said, "I've had mail in my mailbox to go out for 3 days and the postman has not picked up." And they said, "Yeah, we get that all the time. We don't always deliver every day on every route." So, and I was like, gee, what happened to the snow and sleet and rain and all this other stuff that you deliver through? It turns out they just show up when they feel like it.
That's definitely the way it is out here because we're very rural, and like there are times when I'll get a notification from someone that says your mail is out for delivery, and it doesn't show up for like 2.5 days, right? Because
I will say, well, it is bothersome to have to okay, you can only schedule it to drop it off. The one thing it does unlock for me is the cheat code of, but you don't have to go to the front office. You can come right around to the back gate and pull your truck right up to the bunker there.
Diatica says, "Aren't they required by law to deliver?" Yes, but they don't care. There's a lot of things that are required by law that no one does. So
yeah. And by the way, they're still losing money. That's the part that's hilarious is despite this lack of service, despite this lack of actually performing their duties, they're somehow managing to lose money still.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the most horribly mismanaged offices that we have. That, and I'm sure that has nothing to do with the incredibly generous Postman's retirement fund.
Oh, don't even get me started. I know people who worked there for 10 years, retired at the age of 52, and are making what they made while they were at the post office.
Yeah, I mean, so it in some ways it's even more beneficial than a military retirement, though. My understanding is the best of both worlds is to do 20 years in the military and then go and do 20 years at the post office.
Yeah.
And you're more equipped when you go postal then.
That's true. You're actually trained, and you could be effective. Not that you would want to. All right, gentlemen. Let's get into it for today. Joe, kicking off with one of your favorite topics. I'm sure your Ambry friends are enjoying themselves here recently. Suspected pirate swarm bulk carrier in critical Red Sea maritime choke point. This week's maritime focus mostly centered on Ukraine drone strikes against Russia's shadow fleets, but has shifted to the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, the critical choke point linking the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, and what is another important key orifice in that area, Joe? That is leaked?
That's the little bump just before you get to Djibouti.
Yeah, and, that's right.
I highly recommend that you call it that the next time you
Djibouti,
anyway.
the Djibouti
next
bump.
Time you're having a Djibouti port of call. Explain to her where Bab el-Mandeb is. She'll thank you for it. But anyway, it's that area has been prone to piracy. They have moved from the Gulf of Aden a little bit further north to this choke point. It's way easier to get boats at a choke point. That's why Iranians picked them off at the Strait of Hormuz. And here they're catching them at Bab el-Mandeb. I'm actually pulling up the piracy map right now.
This map, if you just blow that map up real quick, watcher Joe, this is a good one for you to kind of just illustrate some of those choke points, global choke points here.
Yeah.
So essentially, you've got a list of them, and they've got 8 listed here. They're probably a little more than that, but there's 8 primary. Primary and secondaries. 8 primaries, and it's the Panama Canal, the Straits of Gibraltar, Cape of Good Hope, which is down by South Africa, the Bosphorus Strait, which is right there at Turkey, the Suez Canal, which is Egypt, Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which is what we're just talking about down there, number 6 on the map, Straits of Hormuz, and then finally the Straits of Malacca, which is the one that that's the most critical one that nobody talks about, in regular news. I was thinking thinking in the regular media,
And I'm sure Jim is pretty familiar with the Straits of Malacca too. It is a critical choke point, always been piracy prone. The one that surprises me on this map actually is the Strait of Gibraltar. And that shows you how much the British Empire has declined because the Royal Marines on the Rock used to keep a pretty tight lock on the Strait of Gibraltar. So.
They probably do. I should point out, Joe, that these aren't necessarily places where piracy happens. This is just pointing out all the potential choke points.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Well, there's a lot of piracy in Malacca. There's a lot of piracy in the Gulf of Aden and Bab el-Mandeb.
And you got different type of piracy from Iran and the IRGC number 7.
You really don't see any there at the Panama Canal. You do see it in Caracas. You do see it along the Venezuelan coast and sometimes the Brazilian coast on our side of the world.
I have a question, Joe. Given our new policy towards other types of unauthorized naval traffic, how long until we take a very different stance towards piracy?
How long before what now?
How long until we take a somewhat explosive stance towards piracy?
I don't know that we will, because the explosive stance we have on drug running actually has nothing to do with drug running. It has more to do with Venezuela. So
yeah, geopolitical tensions. Absolutely. I was just hoping that
one can hope. One can hope.
We're getting awful good at blowing up small boats with bad guys on it. So maybe
that's what I'm saying. If we're comparing, dropping those rocks on bog hammers compared to now, I'm just, accuracy's gone up.
That's true. All right. UK Maritime Trade Operations, or UK MTO, said it received a report that a bulk carrier transiting the Bab Mandeb Strait was attacked by a swarm of 15 small craft. A vessel reports sighting approximately 15 craft. Some of the small craft close within range of 1 to 2 cables, and there was an exchange of fire.
I was just reading that one. Yeah.
And so here's the actual warning from their website. Let's see. Master confirms the vessel remains on high alert and all crew are reported safe. The master has confirmed that small crafts have left the scene. No casualties are reported, and the vessel is proceeding to its next port of call. Now, there's no casualties reporting, but if you've got an Ambry team or another one of the more professional security teams on board, I bet they with 15 boats out there, I bet they hit something.
Well, there was obviously security on board because it said there was an exchange of gunfire.
Yeah.
So that tells you there was a security team on board. They're always private teams. You don't get to unlike at the height of the Gulf of the Iraq War, you don't get U.S. Marines or British Marines on your ship unless you pay for private ones, and that's what they have there. What generally happens in these is the shipboard security team calls in the contact report, hey, we just exchanged fire with a bunch of pirates. Then Ambray or whoever will send a boat of theirs into the area. You used to be able to call for a NATO force, but that's really kind of gone by the wayside. So.
Well, Joe, the weapons of choice that we've seen on a lot of these videos have generally been AKs, 7.62 NATO rifles, and PKMs. So I mean, you can at 1 to 2 cables, you could put a lot of punishment out with those weapons, especially in the hands of trained Marines.
I will just once again point out, and not even in a sarcastic way, but in an admiring way almost, that we will do literally anything to not use the metric system.
Generally, the shipboard security teams do use some variant of the FNFAL or FNC or something like that, just because that round is fantastic for range over water, right? So and it packs a punch. It can detonate a waterborne IED at range. So.
Forging Freedom.
A cable is a maritime measure of a unit of measure. Everybody gets around boats to start talking nautical wagon. I can't help you.
I know, right?
So Forging Freedom says, I could see a scenario where armed drones that can take off of a cargo ship could be deployed defensively. That's actually a very interesting point. How long until Ambry starts hiring wire jockeys?
Ukrainian,
because that would actually be incredibly effective, and it would also it would be within the range that they're talking about. It would be cost effective. Yeah, actually, I can see that becoming a thing very shortly. There might be some international laws that prevent it or something, but I don't know.
International laws that prevent it. I can't imagine what they would do.
Well, I don't mean like international laws as in like laws between nations. I mean like a lot of this is happening within territorial waters, and so it's like various different countries' laws that you have to interact with. Plus, you have to sail through various countries' international waters to get there.
No, you're not wrong.
So,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. But in the maritime realm, it's just funny to hear. It's like, so we have pirates attacking us off a uncontrolled piece of coastline in North Africa, but there are rules of engagement.
Oh, come now. I'm well enough trained to know that there's always going to be some dickhead wanting you to get shot at.
Yeah.
Ugh. Speaking of which, a lot of those people who specifically cause us to get shot at all throughout the entire OIF are suddenly wanting to raise their heads to speak out about the Secretary of War. It's interesting.
Jim, we had a big shutdown in this area with by Yemen. That clearly now is done. But what's your kind of take on the state of shipping now that things have gotten kind of back to normal? I mean, this piracy like this is definitely a a thing. But
Well, I think what you have to remember about the piracy is that it was created as a mechanism to put friction on West, put friction on Japan, Korea. So the Iranians used it, they funded it. It was really never a viable national thing. I mean, when you get Yemen going and the Houthis have been around forever, but this was all an Iranian funded game. And finally going after the Iranians, they lost a lot of money. Stopped it cold. So
What is that?
that rifle, yeah, I was looking at that too. Joe, can you identify that?
What? Well, so look, it looks like some kind of sporting rifle.
It's an AW, an old version of an AW.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So, Blaine, any takes on the current state of piracy in the world?
Yeah, I used to think if you blew up a few boats, people would learn their lesson and stop sending out boats, but apparently that isn't the case anymore.
Evidently, it just opens opportunities in the job markets, the pirate job markets there in Somalia. Evidently,
Yeah.
actually, what's interesting now is that the real threat is against these dark fleet Russian vessels or vessels serving Russian energy.
yeah,
And it's a state actor. It's the Ukrainians, and
Yeah.
they're doing it rather efficiently.
Yeah, apparently they don't care about their carbon footprint or the effect on the environment.
And they're not concerned about the ROE. Though, if you notice, what they're doing is they're coming in and attacking the rear of the vessels. They're taking out the props and the propulsion.
yeah.
They're trying not to breach the cargo side of the vessels. And I think that's real smart. It's the expensive end of the vessel, right? So you take power and propulsion out. It's going to be a real pain in the ass to tow that sucker around, and then you got to get it into a yard. So it's been interesting.
Yeah. You notice nobody complains about the rights of pirates. Fishermen, they're just out fishing.
Well,
Kevin,
the
Kevin,
pirates have to get,
Pirates' lives matter.
well, hey guys, the pirates have to get to Minnesota before anybody cares about what happens to them.
They're
You see,
such
but
a
this
bunch of
is-
retards.
I
Yeah,
thought
it's
the
the
Pirates were in
shameless-
Tampa.
It's just so freaking shameless listening to these media folks pop up and start talking about the fishermen of Venezuela. It's like, come on, the guy's got $200,000 of brand new, 4-stroke outboards on the back.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'd have trouble filling the damn gas tank.
Well, listen,
And, it's like they're doing 60 knots across the Caribbean, and it's like, oh, those poor fishermen.
ask any Floridian, Jim. You got to be real fast to catch those square grouper.
Oh, the square grouper, I know. I responded with a picture of a snowflake grouper, and I think it was Don. Somebody was busting on the square grouper.
Speaking of somebody who likes to bust on some square grouper, Japan rebukes China's second letter to UN. A spat keeps simmering. This is the story, Joe, that keeps on giving.
It really is. It really is.
I feel like they literally do an up
30 all over again.
I know they literally update us every 2 days just to keep us in the loop here. So this is Japan's representative of the UN submitted a rebuttal against the latest Chinese letter to the UN as the spat between the two nations over Takaichi's comment on Taiwan continues to simmer. The assertions contained therein are inconsistent with the facts and unsubstantiated and categorically unacceptable. Very lawyerly. That's great. I love it. Japan's response from the ambassador wrote, referring to a letter submitted by China on Monday that accused of violating UN values. I mean, they're talking about
Whoa. That needs unpacking, okay? UN values?
I know that's the irony of all ironies, right?
I have to be the guy to point out the meta joke here. the format of this is even funny because this is literally like the two high school girls who won't talk to each other. So instead they're talking to their third friend and saying it out loud so the other person will hear it.
Right.
God,
Or they've
this is
gone to the
hilarious.
student council to air out their personal feud here. Let's see. So he continues on. Japan has consistently respected and adhered to international law, including the UN Charter, and has actively contributed to maintaining and strengthening a free and open international order underpinned by the rule of law. The letter follows on China's second missive to the UN complaining about Japan after Takaichi said last month that a Chinese attack on Taiwan would mean a survival threatening situation for Japan, effectively implying that Tokyo could deploy its military with other nations in that scenario. Tokyo and Beijing have been locked in a diplomatic economic dispute. In the most recent letter to the UN, China claimed Takaichi's remarks openly challenged the victorious outcome of World War II and the post-war international order. And
Okay, that might have gone a little far.
a little far, right? Yeah, like what did Mao's China have anything to do with helping win World War II? Other than
Russia has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever here and send Japan a letter and say, "Oh, really? Then let's talk about the Kuril Islands then."
Yeah.
But anyway, because Japan treats everyone in the Kurils the same way that China does in the South China Sea.
Let's see. I just wanted to get this last part in here. I'm going to redo this quote here. Open challenge to the victorious outcomes of World War II and the post-war international order, and constitutes a serious violation of the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Gentlemen, this is all too much to swallow.
Yeah. I mean, basically, this has to continue, right? Because if anybody stops with their letter writing campaigns, they lose, right? That's how the world of North Asia diplomacy works. They're going to keep sending this language back and forth because they can't allow incrementalism of interpretation, right? And so what they want is they want the U.S. or our declaratory statement on, we're just going to hold status quo with Taiwan, not say it's this, not say it's that. But the Japanese are in a tough situation. And I think one of the things in the paper that came out on Friday out of the Trump White House on strategy was that the Koreans and the Japanese Koreans, Japanese, and Taiwanese need to take on a lot more defense responsibility. And written into that is that they need to be able to project their defense in order to defend the maritime pathways that they all rely on. And the vulnerability for all three of those countries, which are critical to the globe, it's all maritime. I mean, 90% of their GDP somehow touches those shipping lanes through energy, through products, food exchange, just you name it, it happens. They can't go through China, they can't go through Russia. So what you have is they must go south and southwest, right? And that puts them very vulnerable in the Taiwan area, north of the Philippines, the straits above the Philippines. We get down to Singapore. The reliance on Singapore in the south is something that they have to bolster as well. So the Japanese are now understanding that they're vulnerable to the Chinese, and they're taking action. And Takaichi is not shy, I think is the way to put it. And she's asserted herself very well, but it's not going to go easily, and the Chinese are going to piss and moan. But what's good is this is the big game. The Philippine stuff about the islands, that's a sideshow, right? The Philippines has to deal with their islands. We'll help deal with the islands. But it comes down to, can you move cargo predictably and safely in and out without the Chinese stopping and inspecting? And for years, you guys, we've been talking about this stop and inspect threat. At some point, the Chinese will begin to do that to Taiwan. And that's when the shit will hit the fan, because they'll choose a vessel that'll have something on it that they want to find.
So I just to kind of go back to the point about the World War II, the victory of World War II, and the new order, right? I just want to put this. Here's the thing: the KMT, right? That's the Kuomintang, Chiang Kai-shek's nationalist Chinese, right? They were in charge of the Chinese government during World War II. There were 22 major battles fought in China between the Japanese and the Chinese government, the nationalist Chinese. In that, the nationalist Chinese fought in all 22 battles. Only one minor battle involved Mao's communist military, right? And they lost about 100,000 total. It's estimated that the nationalist Chinese forces lost 3.2 million people. So basically what Mao did was he hung back like a bitch. It let the KMT clear Japan out of Manchuria and out of China. And then he came in, he fucked Chiang Kai-shek in the ass after they had lost 3 million soldiers, had sacrificed to basically free China. So I mean, if you're interested in communist fucking over everybody else's history, and now taking credit for it 70, 80, 90 years later.
Although the Soviets had a small hand in Manchuria.
So. Yeah, they kind of came in the end. The nationalists
not until 45, but yes.
The World War II lesson here, though, is bigger than the battles and stuff. Just remember, we put economic pressures on Japan when it came to steel and oil, which is what led to World War II and led to Japan attacking. And if you remember, Japan opened that. I invite you all to go dig out your copies of Tora by sending a 17-part letter to the United States explaining that the economic pressures that we were putting on them were forcing them to take military action. Well, this letter writing stuff, it's very historic. And this is how Japan operates. They're very nice until they're not. And this could be really entertaining to watch. I'm enjoying this.
It's going to be exactly that, Blaine. It's old school.
Yeah.
Throw weight of paper. And this is going to be cool diplomatic speak. The problem is the Japanese are taking the time to put the anti-shipping missiles and the anti-aircraft missiles on islands that the Chinese claim. So the Chinese are going to get rather inflamed about that. And somebody will try to create an incident around it. The problem is there's just no room to maneuver. When you get around Taiwan, your options of maneuver are very small. And it wouldn't take much for the Chinese just to bung it up.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw this too, but a new thing on the tipping point is Taiwan just introduced and is going to be spending a lot of money on a domestically produced version of one of Anduril's new anti-shipping missiles. And
the cheap one.
Yeah, it's really cheap. It's really effective, and if they can get those produced in large enough numbers, it really does change the equation significantly.
Because the range on that is like 150 miles or something like that.
It's basically all Taiwan needs.
Yeah, right. It's not huge long range, but it's enough to pretty much make. If they've got enough of them, they could turn a landing flotilla or something into a fucking death trap.
They could turn the strait into a historic graveyard. Yeah.
And Joe, your point about the Russians, Stalin coming in at the end, I think that's exactly right. I think that they were kind of gun shy because they got their teeth kicked in by the Sino-Japanese in the Russo-Japanese war, and basically it was a Yalta thing, right? It's like at the very end, like we wanted him to put some pressure because the Americans had pretty much done everything in the Pacific, the KMT had done everything in China, and
in all honesty, I think they only came in because they wanted to resolve their dispute over the Kuril Islands. And hey, what's a great way to do it? By force. Let's take what's left. And
I think they also wanted to make sure that they solidified their gains in Outer Mongolia and bring that fully into the the Russosphere. And and I think there was probably some collusion between Mao's commies and Stalin's commies, but ultimately they differed greatly on the purpose of communism, and thus the Russians. I mean, hell, what was it in the 50s or was it the 60s? The Russians literally asked the Americans, "Hey, can we nuke? Is it okay if we nuke China?" And that's what put China on the road to, Nixon going to Beijing, right? I mean, so.
Yeah. And hey, Gene Rogers, yes, every poor rural fisherman in Venezuela has a pair of $80,000 outboards on his boat.
Exactly right.
Not for long.
not the way Pete's going out.
I know we got 4 outboards on here, but anybody packing ore?
also, I mean, let's go past the engines even, right? Like standard fishing equipment on most, small countries' fishing vessels is absolutely no deck space, absolutely no rod holders, and as many plastic barrels as you can possibly fit on the deck.
The part that I still crack up is there's a guy now in the basement of the CIA whose job has been to track the sale of motors for boats. And like he's been down there in the basement for 20 years, and this is his moment to shine. He's like, I'm the guy.
Now I know where all those Evinrudes went.
I know where every Evinrude went, man. I've got it mapped. He's now the most important guy in the CIA.
That's exactly right. All right. Now, from international brewing international conflict to a rare culture war story for us here on the Council on Future Conflict. I know this is not everybody's cup of tea, but that's cool. I mean, it's something a little different. And if you don't believe that these media companies are a big part of why we're having the conflict, the domestic conflict we're having today, you haven't been paying attention. Netflix to buy Warner Brothers. So this came out this morning. Netflix to buy Warner Brothers in $72 billion deal. Hollywood goes into panic mode. At first I was against this, but then I heard that Jane Fonda came out and said that this is a catastrophe, and then now I have to decide. Well, maybe it's not all bad then. I don't want to be on the same side of any issue as Jane Fonda, so. So there's that. All right, let me read this opening paragraph, and then I'll throw it over to you guys. Netflix will acquire Warner Brothers, including its film and 2 TV studios, HBO Max, in a cash and stock transaction valuing at an enterprise value of $82.7 billion, or $27.75 per share. The deal is expected to close in third quarter of 26, following Warner Brothers' planned spinoff of Global Networks division into a separate company, Discovery Global. The move comes just months after Paramount Skydance made its own bid for Warner Brothers. Gentlemen, I mean, what's your kind of take on this? I mean, Blaine, you're our biggest culture commenter on right now. How does this sit with you?
I don't know, man. I think this is, it doesn't really change much. It's interesting. I still remember when Netflix used to ship DVDs to your house.
Right.
To see them now in this kind of a position, I think Paramount and Skydance really screwed up with their bid. I really thought that was a done deal. It's interesting, but will it change anything? No. Netflix is hopelessly woke still.
Yeah.
Not that Warner Brothers is much better. So, will we see more of the same? Probably. Maybe this will end the whole DC universe rebooting that we've seen going on, but I don't know. They're buying properties is what they're buying. They're buying IPs.
I want to remind you guys of this. Netflix is now no longer an entertainment entity. It is a political entity. And what's the second franchise down there that's listed? Harry Potter. They want to absolutely destroy Harry Potter because of the stance of J.K. Rowling. And this is a great opportunity to do it because they're buying the rights to it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So this is a battle between multi-billionaires who are very, very politically active, right? You got Reed Hastings on the Netflix side, and you got the Ellison family on the other side. And
well, Dee Dee Myers used to be the communications director for Warner Brothers. So I mean,
so that's the world you're looking at, and these are fiefdoms. So they're consolidating fiefdoms that speak to the population. Let's put it that way.
Now, if
they make a lot of money.
There is some irony. This is not the first time that Warner Brothers was chained up in a basement and treated as an internet company's gimp. That, of course, happened famously in what is it? Was it the late 90s or was it the early 2000s when AOL merged with Time Warner to make AOL Time Warner, and then eventually AOL just got subsumed because they lost.
You always bring up AOL because you still have a Hotmail account.
Yeah, I still have AOL, so be calm there, dude.
You do.
Yeah. And
is that
I'm the last one.
I don't have my AOL email anymore. That's
and I'm wearing my Beverly Hills shirt today, so representing my son who's out there. I can tell you what this is, though, more than anything. Netflix really doesn't have a lot of production studios. They rent space on everybody else's production lots and remote sites, et cetera, to do this. This will actually give them the Warner Brothers lot,
yeah.
So they will actually have studios to produce shows. So this is actually going to embolden Netflix to be able to produce a lot more. Now, Paramount has its own studios in Hollywood already. This would have just doubled them in size. For Netflix, this will now give them studio space to be able to produce a lot more stuff.
Yeah, and that's a kind of that's a marquee piece of kind of property, if you will. That that lot. It's and it comes with who is who's Universal? That's with Paramount, right? No, Universal is
has its own.
But Universal Studios, I was just thinking that's where they have like Harry Potter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was aligned with Warner Brothers, but I guess not.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So the question
there's a
is,
lot of sharing of lots that you get when you go out to Hollywood. That they produce things on each other's studio lots all the time.
Yeah.
So the wasteland of the valley. I'm curious if Gavin's going to make them build low-cost housing. That's I'm kind of waiting for that.
We can't have anybody break up the sight lines there, Jim, with a high-rise, low-cost, shoebox, South Korean style. If they really cared about low-income housing, they would be building vertically in California the way they do here in South Korea and in Japan and places like that. That's how you get fucking low-income housing. But they don't do that.
Can I give you another point about Netflix acquiring these as an attempt to destroy things? What is Game of Thrones about at its core? Its very center.
Politics. It's
about rural folks who wanted to be left alone, resisting an overreaching and overpowerful central government.
Yeah.
That is a little bit full of debauchery, right? Huh. Well, we have to destroy that. We can't have that going on.
Joe, you're right. I think I do have like, I remember the old days in the 90s.
Yeah, you have a little bit of nostalgia about the early internet.
But I even get nostalgic about computers in the 80s, right? Like, but the old TI 99 4A that I had and the Commodore 64 that my friend had that I was so jealous of.
I first learned on the TRS 80. Remember that one?
The Trash 80. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Scott longs for Windows 95.
No, don't get it twisted.
Commodore 64.
I was a DOS man for like a good 2 years after Windows like had already kind of like taken over.
I don't know why they ever called floppy disks because they were never actually floppy. Maybe the first 5.5-inch ones, but
the 5.5 inch.
5 1/4 were
5 1/4. Yeah, 5 1/4.
Yeah, 5 1/4. Yeah. Those were floppy, but
and the 8-inchers before that were floppy.
Remember the zip?
Again, there's performance issues with men of certain age.
I was a big fan. I never tried little square ones. Yeah.
This explains.
I never
this, Scott,
never
this
had
explains
a
so much.
edicts. All right.
Oh, it was floppy disk.
The world was better in the 80s. I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of better, let's talk about tactical-wisdom.com. That's the modern internet I can get behind. Joe, what do you got going on?
Oh, me? Oh, a little bit of nothing. Today I'm headed over to get set up at the Kalispell Arms Show and buying an antenna on the way. Somebody is offering a discount antenna at a price they don't realize is incredibly low, so I'm buying that bad boy. But after that, we've got winter survival class here, 13th and 14th, which that same weekend we're gonna have the Boy Scouts here doing their winter survival course too. So it's gonna be kind of cool. A little bit of crossover action. And then in January, we're going to be running some more courses here. Check that stuff out. If you want to buy books for Christmas for people, you need to get that order in the next week from me. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that the U.S. Postal Service is going to get them there. And to answer Rick's inevitable question that I see is already on the screen, I have done a lot of work in the last 3 days. It'll be there pretty soon. CWSB, that's beautiful, by the way. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have going on. Tactical Wisdom 6 is being pushed out pretty quickly, and I shared with some folks the other day. I've got 7 and 8 already mapped out too, so going to be some good stuff. If you're flopping around the internet and looking for something, check out Untamed Nation. I was on that podcast this week with Tommy Kerrigan and Joel. I can never remember his name. Joe, whoever the guy is who runs it. It's a great dude. It was a good show. Check that out. We had a good time talking about it. So. And let me answer Squishy Hunter's question too, real quick, since this is still my time. Yes, during World War II, Daffy Duck did enlist in the United States Marine Corps. Yes. So therefore, it is Donald Duck that is gay, not Daffy.
Hey, for the next
Donald Duck's Navy. He always wears a Navy outfit, Joe.
He's a sailor and he doesn't wear pants.
in the Navy. You can say Donald Duck's in the Navy. Yeah. Watcher, if you could pull the link from the private chat up for the next Shameless Profit Center segment. Blaine's got a new book out, the new Blue Dawn, Brush Fires of Freedom. Blaine, you got a lot coming out. You got another book out too now, right? It's
I got books out all the time. I've got something coming out from Chris Kennedy Books where I did a short story in it. That's coming out on December 19th. This book comes out, Brush Fires of Freedom, comes out the 1st of January. And I've literally got 2 more chapters to do. So sometime this weekend, I'll be finishing up Tenure 4, extracurricular activities. Which is going to be interesting because we jumped head on into the entire trans issue and trans shooters and stuff.
Oh yeah. The whole Trantifa, like. Were you tempted to draw into that whole Zizian cult?
We totally did. That's exactly what we did. But we renamed them the Vivians, and we literally lifted their story and put it in there and went nuts because you're dealing with a transgender vegan cult, and how could you possibly pass that up?
I think you can't make that up. I mean. No. Wait, it's literally a comic book supervillain kind of level trope.
Oh yeah, and we have a lot of fun with it. So, little Burning Man in there. There's a little bit of everything going on. So the Brush Fires Freedom is really good. You guys are really going to enjoy it. The war escalates up to a great point and sets the stage for book 7, which will be the final book in the Blue Dawn series in the main arc.
It's sad to hear it ending, but man, that's got to be a great feeling to close the chapter on that.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. And Joe's actually in this battle, but he's not in this picture. So on the cover.
All right, good.
Oh yeah, because let's don't get it twisted. Joe took a Chinese military Hilux with a Dishka on the back, and he's driving around in that. That's what he's driving.
Hey, did you see the Hilux will now be available in the United States?
In the U.S.
Thank God.
The whole K car thing is interesting. I mean, like, I'm not dying for a K car, but I know there are a lot of college kids out there that would love to be able to buy like a safe little K car. Those K cars are shockingly safe. I mean,
Anyway,
they're tiny, but
I just want to point out the Blaine's overperformance in publishing must shame the hell out of people who purport to be authors. Your capacity to deliver really good stories on a regular basis is amazing. So.
Thank you.
The consistency, Blaine, is the thing that I've been really, amazed by, ever since I've got to know you. And, I didn't know you during the BattleTech era, but everybody I knew like referred to your books as the ones to read. And so, being anti-BattleTech, then I was like, well, I got to get into Blaine books. And so you have consistently just dropped books, and I've been so happy with everything that I've read from you. So it's
well, Joe gave me a plug. Joe's actually referenced in the acknowledgments of the upcoming Land and Sea book that I've got coming out called The Best of the Worst. And that's through edits. We're just waiting on the cover at this point, but it's a standalone series in Land and Sea. So if you are looking for a good entry point, this will be a great way to get in. It's basically the Dirty Dozen, but they're Marines. So,
nice.
It's the old Chesty Puller line, take me to the brig so I can see the real Marines.
Yes.
Well, we're going to break some Marines out of the brig to go fight the aliens, and they are reprobates. It's always something I wanted to tackle is the Dirty Dozen and do it in my universe. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Joe helped out on it. Thank you very much, Joe. And it's just going to be fun, guys. It's just a fun romp. And that's coming out sometime, I would guess, January or February.
Man,
that's cool, man.
See
what I tell you. What I tell you.
Like a slacker, Blaine.
No, I'm not trying to make anybody look bad. Sibley does that on his own.
You're pulling in
Sibley cranks out some really good stuff, but he's also got a full-time job.
Yeah.
He actually works for a living. It's hard for me to dog on him too much because I did that for years too. And I'm just doing this full time now. So I'm having a blast. And every book I put out pisses
more time than all of us on Twitter too. So,
well, and I know that every book I put out pisses off the woke people who tried to cancel me.
Somebody mentioned spaghetti westerns in the chat, and I have to tell you all, I have to admit to something terrible, but then something good. I had never seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly until last night. I don't even know why. Probably just because I was a small child when it came out, and I never watched it. But if you watch that movie, what's his name? Clay Martin is in it. You can't convince me otherwise. The what is it? The Union Captain. It's Clay Martin. You cannot convince me otherwise.
I don't know how many times in various things I've used the name Bill Karstens, as just a name, a filler name, for characters and whatnot, and and if you know that movie, you know where the reference is.
Yeah. Anyway, Watcher, throw up that picture I shared of Daffy and Dress Blues in our chat.
Oh, put it back up.
Did. Yeah.
Hold on. There we go.
There it is. There it is. Daffy is a United States Marine. So, anyway.
All right. I actually took the time to make the focusing on the optics of brush beaters. So let's see. Tonight we're dissecting the boiling U.S. political conflict and Europe's reckless hunger for war with Russia. From Capitol Hill knife fights to NATO saber rattling, the world's a powder keg. Enter our sponsor, Brush Beater Store, led by NC Scouts, spotlighting Kyber optics to give you clear sightline through the storm. In a landscape of partisan warfare and continental brinksmanship, Kyber optics from Brush Beater Store delivers battle-proven. Well, I don't know if battle-proven is correct, but probably. For uncertain times, the Kyber Optics PVS 14 monocle brings mil-spec Generation 2 Plus white phosphor night vision with premium Japanese glass and a lifetime you break it, we replace it warranty, ideal for spotting threats in the political shadows or prepping for escalation. Mount it hands-free with the Skull Crusher head mount for lightweight operations without bulk, or for daytime dominance, the Kyber Optics MDO packs a closed emitter red dot with shake-awake tech and a 50,000 battery hour life into a compact package. Perfect for rifles and pistols when tensions turn tactical. And rounded out with a Kyber Optics 1x6 LPVO for versatile, low-power, variable optics offering crisp reticles and rugged durability for any range engagements. Test the edge at Brush Beater's Yanceyville, North Carolina showroom, complete with darkroom demo, or shop brushbeater.store. Collection/optics. Use code CFC10 for 5% off all Kyber optics, night vision, radios, trainings, etc. Orders over $100 ship for free. Big thanks to Matt at Brush Beater Store for backing Council on Future Conflict. Visit brushbeater.store, enter code CFC10, and see the fight coming. All right, back to the show, gentlemen. And then I forgot to mention the RMR. I think that's going to be a big seller for him. What's the price point on the RMR? Can you pull that up, Watcher, real quick? It's on there now. Yeah, I was gonna say Watcher just closed out the tab. Blaine, the next pistol you need to get one of these Kyber Optics RMRs and put it on there. Shooting a pistol with an optic is a shockingly pleasant experience. It makes it dummy proof.
So there's a lot of folks who are purists, right? Or like, no, with a pistol, I'm gonna stick with irons. And I used to be one of those too. But as you get a little bit older, it gets harder to properly focus on the front sight post.
Yeah.
And having an optic on your pistol actually makes that way easier, especially if you stick to the bend and aiming concept where you're not looking at the sights anymore. We're looking at the target and waiting for our sights to appear on it. So
$199.
Yeah, that's a great
price. A great deal for this optic. It's a fantastic optic, very easy to zero, mounts securely, and as it says right there on the webpage, I dropped mine and tried very hard to break it, and it cracked but did not break, and it held zero. So
yeah, Joe was the first person to damage his Kyber Optics RMR. So if he
because
can do
before
it,
that I had the only one in existence, but yeah, it's I've given it a pretty good heavy duty test, and it's a fantastic optic. It's been working great for me, and it is good to go.
All right. So brushbeater.store, code CSC10 for 5% off. All right, gentlemen, let's jump into the main topic of the day: domestic political conflict. I talk about somebody who is a victim of political. Just absolute harassment. And I don't know how he recovers from this. I mean, the mental fortitude you need to be able to stand up in the face of this onslaught is just, it's amazing. Victim mentality. Walls whines about drive-by retard shoutings as Omar suggests Trump inciting violence against her. No, he's inciting deportment for you is what he's inciting. And we hope that happens very soon. Leave it to Democrats to try to spend billionaire fraud against the American people and to attack on them. How dare you criticize us for stealing money from the American taxpayers? The saga began late last month when Manhattan Institute senior fellow Chris Rufo and a reporter, Ryan Thorpe, published a bombshell alleging widespread large-scale fraud schemes exploiting Minnesota's welfare programs, primarily involving members of the state's Somali immigrant community. The centerpiece of their reporting focuses on the infamous Feeding Our Future scandal, the COVID-era child nutrition program that fraud labeled by federal prosecutors as the largest pandemic-related scheme in the nation. Rufo and Thorpe reported how many fraudsters allegedly stole at least 250 to 300 million by claiming to feed millions of children while providing few to no meals. Many of the indicted individuals, over 70 charged by late 2025, with dozens convicted or pleading guilty, were Somali Americans. Funds were reportedly used for personal enrichment, including luxury vehicles, real estate in the U.S., Turkey, and Kenya. Gentlemen, how aware of this were you guys prior to, say, this week?
Extremely.
I was not aware of it. So, I mean,
I was.
I've been very aware of this for quite a long time.
Go ahead and talk about it a little bit here. I mean,
yeah. But so people have been trying to expose the Somali communities for doing this for a while, because there were, for a while, multiple Somali social media influencers that were just publicly talking about this. They were bragging about it during the 2021 through 2022 era, I want to say. When Joe Biden was in office, they were very, very bold about talking about a lot of these different programs. Multiple different whistleblowers have come out from the Somali community as well. It's all been like on private social media, and like various internet schizos catch it and they spread it around their circles. But if you aren't watching those circles, nobody talks about it.
Yeah, I mean, I had heard a lot of stories about people living in Section 8 housing, but like brand new expensive cars.
I was going to say, if you ever want to know if fraud's going on anywhere, go to Section 8 housing and look at the cars.
Yeah. The one that actually drew my attention to this whole thing was the autism thing, because the look, this is how they got caught, right? Like, they had shut down all the fraud prevention things inside of the state. Like, Tim Walz has sent people to go after the various people who are set to persecute waste, fraud, and abuse. How they ended up getting caught is that so many Somalis in one particular area were claiming these autism benefits that are special, that Minnesota puts aside for autism, that autism researchers came to the area to be like, wow, you guys have like ridiculous rates of autism. We need to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And then the researchers went, wait a minute, none of you have autism.
Let me continue here. Rufo and Thorpe's reporting expanded the scope to other programs, including Medicaid funded autism services, which is exactly what Watcher was just talking about, where claims skyrocketed from 3 million to 300 in 2018 to 399 million by 2023, with disproportionately high diagnosis among Somali children. Well, from what I understand, the average IQ in Somalia is like 68 or something along these lines, like really. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not autism. Maybe it's something else with the brain. Overall, the pair of journalists estimated billions in taxpayer dollars were stolen across multiple schemes under Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's watch. The most shocking claim was that federal counterterrorism sources told Rufo that millions in stolen funds were remitted to Somalia via informal Hawala networks. We talked about that on Wednesday. Ultimately reaching Al-Qaeda affiliated terrorist group Al-Shabaab. Within days, President Donald Trump announced revocation of the temporary protected status for Somali migrants in Minnesota and referred to Walz as seriously retarded in a late night Thanksgiving Day post on Truth Social.
Boy, he's really living up to the name of Truth Social, isn't he?
I gotta be honest. I'm going to admit this, and I'm probably more proud of it than I should be, but if I lived in his state, I would be driving by his house yelling out retard. I totally would. And I'm sorry, my wife would be pissed at me, but I would make a nightly event of it.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be like a celebration. But no, I have to give this to you in his own words, because it's too good.
true. This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people.
The R word.
And I have
Why would you ever admit that? Why would you
Or be
ever
driving
admit?
by and shouting it in Chinese at him. That'd be even
It's
better.
going to be like a parade of cars, like they're bumper to bumper going 10 miles an hour.
I know.
There's so many of them. It's like when somebody puts up those outrageous Christmas lights and everybody slows down for it. They're all going to be going like a
They're gonna Franklin his house. I mean, it's like
I could be there in 18 hours, so this might actually have to go down.
I think there's a Franklin Tim Waltz retard
There is
meme out there.
Once Franklin calls Tim Waltz a retard.
You know, it's gotten to the point too where he had to double up on his tampon that day. It's upsetting him so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Again, I don't know who said it first here, but if that was actually happening to me, I wouldn't tell anyone about it.
Yeah, no kidding. That was Watcher. Watcher called that. Like, you're
I know,
a moron
right?
for saying that.
Because all he just did was make it 10 times worse. Because a bunch of people are like, wow, that's a really good idea. I think I'm going to do that.
What's important is his own words are part of the mantra of the Democrat because he said, this is dangerous. So words are dangerous. Remember that?
Right.
That's you use words and it's just like hitting someone. And, you know, so he's still living that. God, did we dodge that bullet and him not being vice president?
This is oh boy. Let's play the video of Ilhan Omar claiming victim status. Oh no, he said that we're garbage people.
Somali immigrants. In general, you in particular have been the target of his attacks for a long time. What's your response?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked because we know that the president oftentimes resorts to very bigoted, xenophobic, Islamophobic, racist rhetoric when he is trying to scapegoat and deflect from the actual failures that he has himself. We know that this administration has not fulfilled the majority of the promises that they've made, whether it is bringing costs down, whether it is the tariffs that are decimating businesses.
Yeah, all right, that's enough of that.
Well,
I've got an entertaining one though for you because before we move on for the story of Somalis, did you guys see this? That mayor who got elected by pitting various different tribal groups against each other?
Yeah. He spoke Somali at the
spoke Somali, and he came out recently and was so supportive of him. He decided that he needed to sit down and break bread with them, and I just thought this was such a touching moment.
What was he eating? What is that?
Well, I don't know, but he's really enjoying it. You know,
goat testicles. Yeah.
Scoop it around a little more. I think that'll make it better.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude!
Look, you know, every time she talks, all I can think of is I'm not taking a cultural lesson from somebody who's screwing her brother.
Can I point out
she just happens to be the prettiest.
To another man, even in an armored vehicle. I'm just throwing that out there.
Look at me.
You know, Blaine, she just happens to be the prettiest retard that country's ever produced, and that's how she was able to get the votes in the Somali community to be elected to Congress.
I didn't think it was possible in my lifetime that someone would surpass the Nigerian prince thing.
I know.
So
right?
honestly, this is a major accomplishment for Somalia, and it's probably culturally the biggest thing they've ever accomplished.
I want to pull this screenshot up because, first of all, the face on Jacob Frey is like, this is so horrible. I can't even describe it. And the other guy's face is, we just made him eat goat shit, and he's doing it, and it's hilarious.
It's like I chose poorly.
Hold on.
Wow.
I got you.
And there's no glass of water to wash it down either.
Yeah.
How long has it been since I made a fresh meme on the show for you guys? I want you to appreciate this.
Hey, Watcher, pull the link up that I just dropped in the private chat.
I am.
So ICE is gonna. Now. So now that this protection's been pulled away, ICE will be coming soon. So this is a POV of ICE entering Minnesota. You know, they will be shouting Irene as they cross the line of contact.
We're caught in a trap. I can't walk out.
I think wasn't this movie filmed in Morocco?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it was too, and I think I think this was actual Ranger Regiment guys were doing all this stuff here.
those were the days.
Those were the days. That's right. All right.
For the record, some of us were there before it was cool, when it was just the 56 Marines or so that were there. So,
Let's see. Gotta go on to the next one here. Wait a second. Yeah. The next one is the. How did the link get? No. The link got messed up, Watcher.
Oh.
Hold on a second. I'll there's two stories from Zero Hedge about the January 6th guy, and we have got the links screwed up.
Oh, I see. How did that happen?
All right, I got it. I'm dropping the link in the private chat right now.
Okay, cool. That's really
All right.
weird.
So this is the first one. This is when we were going back and forth, and I was like, they got mixed up somehow. All right. So man arrested in January 6th pipe bomb case identified as Brian Cole. Who is Brian Cole? I have no idea who Brian Cole is.
Brian Cole was surprised to find out that his name was Brian Cole.
Brian Cole, yes. The FBI surrounded a home in Woodbridge, Virginia, where alleged DC pipe bomber was reportedly 33 was arrested this morning. Cole seemingly has very little online presence, has been described as an anarchist. He's expected to be arraigned today. It is being reported that Cole's father's bail bond company was raided today along with the house. Let's see.
Yeah. So the house does check out as a typical Antifa member's house.
Yeah.
But
yeah, right.
So,
but a dude who lives in that kind of a neighborhood, that affluent, is so pretentious. He would have told somebody.
Wait, Blaine's got a point.
Yeah, here's the deal. He lives with his parents. And I'd like to point out how many crazy people have we seen? Thomas Crooks and him and all these other guys. They all live with mom, or they live with mom and dad.
Yeah.
Even my own crazy stalker lives with his dad. And he's 40-some years old and unemployed. And, I told my wife last night, I said, after I saw this, I said, it's not going to shock me when my stalker takes a shot at somebody at some point, because this thing of living with your parents into your later years clearly is screwing with your development.
Yeah.
So, interesting thing about this: the dad owns a bail bonds company, but from what I've been able to see, he didn't own a bail bonds company until recently, and he did it specifically to help illegal immigrants post bond. And in fact, like, something has happened because they apparently have like a $270 some odd $1,000 tax lien against that house that just got raided.
Well, it's a $660,000 home in Woodbridge.
Yeah, that's not nothing. Whereabouts in Virginia is this? I assume it's Northern Virginia, or
it's Northern Virginia. It's off of I-95, north of where I live here in Fredericksburg by about a half an hour. Okay. It's not too far from Quantico, honestly. Woodbridge is just minutes from Quantico.
And it has an IKEA.
Yes, it does. A huge IKEA.
So yeah, this is the bonding company, and they only bond immigrants, and they do it across all 50 states.
I'll bet
FBI has been arrested.
Not booming today.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Oh, this is
FBI has arrested a Virginia man nearly 5. So this is the Let's see. Suspect is expected to face charges for allegedly planting the devices, which were later deemed to be viable explosives that could have seriously injured or caused death. The FBI did not share additional information about the suspect. Let's see. The suspect has been linked to statements that show support for an anarchist ideology.
They use anarchist ideology when they're afraid to say Antifa, right?
Right.
And here's the thing, though. If you look at the photo of the guy, he literally looks like either Steve Urkel or Eddie Murphy. Can't tell which. Maybe Norbit, right? When Eddie Murphy played a nerd. But this only comes out after news organizations put out some very credible information IDing a CIA agent as the person who placed the bombs, right? And you're going to have to square the fact that whoever planted the bombs got out of a government vehicle in the area. How do you do that?
Well, it was a Capitol Police woman that they were targeting initially.
Well, yeah, she's now a CIA agent. She
left the Capitol
Police and joined the CIA.
So let's see. There's a massive cover up because the person who planted the bombs, they don't want you to know who it was because either it's connected anti-Trump insider or it was an inside job. Dan Bongino, now the deputy FBI director, said in November 2024 on his show, those bombs were planted there. There was a setup. I have zero doubt. Evidently, here it says here the same treasure trove of material that had mostly been gathered in 2021 and 2022. Two sources told the outlet that the Biden administration had this evidence 3 years ago. Video footage and photos of the suspect show a figure wearing a hood and a face mask. The bombs were quickly disarmed. It's the last month, a forensic analysis pointed towards a Capitol police officer whose unique gait due to a sports injury suggested that she was matched using a software tool compared to strides. That's from The Blaze. Definitely there's still a lot of questions here, right?
Pinochet, perfect. The Black Thomas Crooks. That's literally exactly who this is. So this points out that if this guy was involved, they have some sort of an archetype that they target and that they can manipulate and do this. Looking at the kid, he seems to be someone easily manipulated. Two things can be true. The Capitol Police person could have been involved, and this guy still was the one who physically planted them, right? Somebody told this guy to do it. He didn't do this on his own. And the federal government has a long history of putting inert bombs or improperly assembled bombs in the hands of people to do things, right? It's part of their MO for their cases that they make, their undercover cases. And here we are. We have one just like that. I'm not buying that this kid acted alone or that it's even him.
Let me catch it.
Well, the media was throwing out this stupid stuff of, this could have been an attempt to kill Kamala Harris because she was going to attend the DNC that day. And I'm like, that was bullshit too.
Yeah.
So how do you explain the one at the RNC?
Let's see. Lance Corporal veteran for $2. When you can't compete, you buy the competition. So that was in reference to the Netflix Warner Brothers deal. I think that there is only a market for so much competition in that, and I think maybe 3 or 4 is about the limit of big studios and whatnot, especially now that you've got streaming involved. So. Ulysses for $5 says, if anyone has a unit, I can send 200 Christmas cards to please post in the chat or send it to Joe. I'll get it from next. Very good to know. Thank you very much. I think whoever gets those would be lucky too. Unfortunately, there just aren't the deployments like there used to be for care packages and things like that. I won't lie. It was really cool getting a care package from a bunch of elementary school kids, and I ended up writing each one of them back. And evidently,
by the way, you can still write Christmas cards and letters to any Marine, any sailor, or any soldier at Bethesda, Walter Reed, San Diego Naval Hospital, I mean, or Balboa Naval Hospital, whatever, wherever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you just look up any soldier, sailor, marine, but no, don't do it for airmen. They don't deserve them.
Yeah, screw those guys.
Yeah, screw those airmen and spacemen. I mean, they're guardians.
Says pre-prepared, so active in the chat. I feel the same way about Air Wing Marines, bro.
Yeah, Joe's very consistent. Over on, let's see, Peter says helicopters for $2. Was Black Thomas Crooks working alone? Why did Black Thomas Crooks plant bombs 1 hour timer 16 hours early? Yeah, good question. Peter says helicopters for $1. Somalian ballot harvesters. Yep. Yeah, if you don't think there's a fucking shit ton of voter fraud going on in Minnesota related around the Somali community, you don't understand how Somalis think. Let's say peanut shaded helicopters for $2 again on Rumble. I have brush fires on pre-order, but I'm pleased. Mr. Pardo is not like G.R.R. Martin. Yeah, we will definitely get the ending of Blue Dawn before we get the ending of. Actually, we'll get the ending of all of Blaine's novel series before we get that book.
Yeah, you're never going to get a book from George R.R. Martin.
Do you think he will ever? You think he would just hand off the notes and the outline to somebody and let them write it?
He tried to do that a few years ago and it failed. So no, he's never going to do it. He can't do it. He can't write a happy ending. And we already know the ending they kind of had in mind because that was what was in the TV show. So whatever he produces at this point is going to be upsetting to the fans. So he's just opting to not produce it.
Well, somebody.
But he took the advance. That's the part I love. Is he took the advance money.
Well, somebody is going to come up with some AI written ending that everybody is loves, and the company's going to publish it. After
the last AI written book I read was absolutely garbage, and the guy still tells me it wasn't AI written, but there's literally no way it wasn't.
I've yet to come across a book that I know to be AI written. There's plenty of really shitty human written stories out there still to read. But I have a feeling, Joe, you're right. AI books are coming.
They're out there.
Yeah.
AI writing might be better than a lot of movie script. I will be honest with you. If you plugged in all of the scripts into ChatGPT from the 80s and then told me any movie that ChatGPT makes in the mold of the 80s movies would be better than almost anything coming out of Hollywood right now, which is sad.
For no reason whatsoever, I'm just going to hold up Lessons from the Rhodesian Bush War. So
nice.
No reason whatsoever.
Joe, you've seen that documentary about that guy who followed the were they? I don't think they were salacious. They were the scouts. They were, I think, the light infantry is who he followed around, and the guy who made the documentary ended up getting killed. Did you see that?
Nope.
It is a Rhodesian documentary.
The RLI? No, I have not seen that.
I'll make sure I send that link to you. It's pretty cool. I only discovered it last year on YouTube. All right. The next one here, instinctually programmed to lie. So of course this news that it's not a white guy disappoints plenty of people. Instinctually programmed to lie. CNN's Jake Tapper mislabels DC pipe bomb suspect as a white man. Leftist CNN anchor Jake Tapper was blasted online as an NPC programmed to lie after he falsely identified the accused DC pipe bomber as a white man. I mean, that's literally like a Freudian slip, right? He can't just internally reconcile the fact that this is not like a white man or a Trump supporter even. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the DC suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction by means of explosion. The CNN observed local and federal law enforcement outside home in Woodbridge, Virginia this morning. Tapper told viewers, a statement now appears to be grossly mislabeling, suggest an unhinged anchor is upholding a political and racial bias simply because the facts don't fit the fake news narrative that the mainstream media has been pushing for years. Yeah, gentlemen, there is a lot to unpack there.
With the house and said it has to be a white guy.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Because he's a racist.
I mean, Jake Tapper's been a fucking problem for years.
He did one good thing. He wrote The Outpost, which is actually a pretty accurate telling of the Battle of Copcating. But other than that,
yeah, that's the whole broken clock is right twice a day. Meme. He had his once. He was right. Now we're still waiting for the second time.
Well, his credibility went in the toilet after he put out the book on, Biden's mental impairity and how everybody was deceived by it,
Yeah, everybody fucking knew. I mean, come on, you knew from watching Biden on TV.
He was part of the cover-up. That's
I know.
the part that's so amazing.
Yeah. I can't believe this.
I can't believe this lie that I told everyone.
Tapper's segment refers to pipe bombs found near the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters on January 5th, the night before the Capitol riot. In a separate report, he noted Cole's father is also black and also enlisted in the service of Ben Crump, a attorney best known for racial discrimination cases. According to FBI,
is he known for literally anything else? So he's only known.
Cole works in the office of a bail bondsman in Northern Virginia. No, that's his father. Resides in a single-family home in Widgeburg with his mother and other relatives. Interesting. And this whole link diagram thing, I thought that was kind of like, I don't know. It just seems kind of weak, honestly. I've seen some really amazing link diagram analysis, but this one is just kind of like, okay, whatever. Let's see. He was connected to a wide network of bail bonds companies, and we already kind of featured the fact that these bail bonds companies were specifically aimed at serving the immigrant population.
They're Somali run. It's a Somali network.
What happens if this guy ends up being Somali background?
That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
My question is, with Somalis in Minnesota, how long until we have piracy on the Great Lakes?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's
good luck with that. Good luck with that. That's cold.
Yes, way too cold for them.
Yeah.
The water off Somalia is very warm. It's not very warm anywhere in Michigan.
All right. Let's move
honestly,
on.
I find it hard to believe that this kid pulled this off and never told a soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah, young people like run their fucking mouths like it's going out of style.
Especially young anarchist types, right?
Oh yeah.
Yo, check out what I did, bro. And somebody would have ratted on him by now if this guy actually was involved in this.
Or, what they're going to find out when they start combing his social media, which we'll never see, is how many groups did he go meet with?
Yeah.
I'll
offer you. I'll offer you my alternate theory. I'm not saying that I think this is true. I'm just saying I see a pattern that could fit here, which is I think it was the FBI agents who were covering up for him because A, he was black, B, he's a leftist, and C, I believe that when we dig into his parents, we're going to find out that his parents act the way they do politically because they have political connections.
I agree with the Watcher.
There's a great line in this thing there. The mysterious handling of the bombs drew scrutiny from Congress and the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General. Surveillance footage later released by Thomas Massey showed Secret Service agents responding slowly after being told the device was found at the DNC. Agents remained in their vehicle eating lunch before investigating and allowed pedestrians and cars to pass the device. There was some speculation that this was a known training operation that was going on, and that would lend credence to that story.
Yeah.
But interesting.
Let's see. Let's move into this last story here, guys. If you didn't know it already, if he hasn't told you enough, Gavin Newsom's running for president in a couple years.
Really?
Say it ain't so. Let's see. So this is the great question here, right? As Gavin Newsom gears up for a run for president, in what world would he run on? Like what has he done? He couldn't boast. What I will do for America, what I've done for California.
Yeah, based on his great success.
Like what track record does he have to be able to actually run?
He has executed the largest urban renewal program in Pacific Palisades that you could ever imagine. He's totally changed the landscape along Malibu and Pacific Palisades. He has completely changed the landscape out there. It's very green now. There's hardly a house in sight. It's beautiful. This guy really knows his shit.
Nick says they're going to run Mamdani. I think they're going to run Mamdani, but not.
Mamdani doesn't qualify.
Not yet, because he will run at the state level. He can even be a senator, but he will never be president.
He is not qualified to be president of the United States. Now natural.
What? Not qualified to be mayor, but
what they would do if they're smart.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't run for Senate in. I think the New York seat's up in. Is it next year or the year after? Anyway,
I think it's next year.
What they would
if it's
do
next year, I don't think they would run. They would run him that quickly. I think he needs time in the oven before he's ready for the national stage.
I think who they'd run if they were smart, although they won't because they can't because they're emotional and impulsive. I'd take this one on the chin on purpose. I'd run the farthest leftist candidate for president that I can so that the guy gets pounded into the ground and then let basically the rest of the psychopaths that are just moderates swap up the party after that. Basically take an election cycle off in a way in order to reshuffle the party and reshuffle the bench. They're not going to do it though.
No.
It's not just say he should be in another.
Wow. I think the context was taken a little bit out of it.
I can't say that I didn't just say anyway. Lance Corporal veteran for $2. I can show you front row view of what Gavin did to California. Well, let me list you some things here. This story has it's kind of like one of those list format stories. It's like, why shouldn't he run for president? Let me count the ways. California's astronomical gas prices and taxes remain the highest in the continental U.S. California has the largest unfunded liability debt in the nation, approaching $270 billion. Let's see, just 1% of Californians' households pay 50% of the state income tax, and the fleeced are leaving in droves. Let's see. Newsom recently boasted to extend Medi-Cal health insurance to thousands more illegal aliens. Let's see. California has another list of first amongst the 50 states. The largest population of illegal aliens, the largest number of homeless people, the largest number of people fleeing the state, the largest number of at 11 million, percentage of 27% of foreign-born residents, the largest number of people living in poverty, the largest food prices in the continental United States, or the highest food prices. The state's infrastructure was usually rated near the bottom. California ranks among 5 worst states in per capita violent crime. Let's see. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to bankrupt California because of it ranks 7th in the nation in oil reserves. Novation has more agricultural production or forestalled land acreage, so it's hard to bankrupt California, but Newsom has managed. Let's see. California used to be the best run state in the country, and now it is not. Let's see. No state politician of the last 3 decades has been more responsible for California's decline than Gavin Newsom. I mean, he fucking did it to San Francisco. San Francisco became he was kind of like Mandami in San Francisco before Mandami was cool, leading to the poop detection app in San Francisco. Circa what was that, 2020 or so? Or is it, what is it before that? I can't even remember. Maybe
that was way before that. No,
it was back in the teens. It was back during when Gavin Newsom was there and fucking he was the mayor.
You say I remember that being a thing when I visited there for like private business stuff in 2016.
So basically it says, well, so what will he run on? Certainly not high-speed rail, 17 years, 15 billion, and not a foot of track laid. Certainly not a $500 million exploding solar battery power plant. Certainly not illegally issuing 17,000 commercial CDLs to licenses to non-resident illegal aliens with little or no English competency. Certainly not the horrific but preventable Palisades fires, and certainly not the now closed $2 billion desert solar plant boondoggle. I mean, what the fuck does he run on?
Well, he's brought the high-speed rail system into California.
He really has.
They had nothing before he was there. They've started construction on something that's truly amazing.
Yeah, they have learned how to get rid of money faster than any other rail network in the world with fewer miles of track than any other rail.
Gents, we need to be very careful. Oh. You have very nearly said the HSR word out loud 3 times, and I just want to make you aware that summons Demp. That's going to happen.
Demp will magically appear and be angry and speak in that whatever language it is that he speaks, which is not English or French.
Yes, the whole Creole thing.
You ready for my daily black pill for you? This all presupposes that there's going to be an election in 28, and I'm not trying to just be the doomer guy. But look at their rhetoric of the last 7 to 14 days. They're not going to wait that long for a change. So,
I mean, you can, as much as Tim Pool liked to talk about civil war during the Biden era, there are more indicators of civil war going on right now.
You are way closer to it today. You actually have Congress people literally calling for military action against the president.
Well, Blaine, this is the first time we've had you on since the Seditious Six kind of, made their video manifesto known to the world. I mean, this is exactly, if you were to write a prequel novel to Blue Dawn, right? Like that lays out, and this might, I'll be honest with you, I always kind of wished you would do this. You kind of told the story in the first, I think it was the first 2 novels, kind of through flashbacks and whatnot. But if you were to tell this story, this could literally be chapter 1.
Yeah, these guys work better in a fiction area than they do in reality.
Yeah, that's true.
Gavin is definitely fiction. Yeah,
it's just they don't care, and when I say that, I want to make sure everybody understands they don't care about the American people at all. Yeah. Zero. It's about holding on to power.
Yep.
It's about securing it and holding on to power. And they don't care what they have to do that. And, it cracks me up every time Mark Kelly trots out and starts playing his victim card, oh my God, the president's coming after me. Well, if that was the case, you'd be in jail. So stop your whining. You told everybody he was a king. So, clearly that's a lie. You're dealing with people who go, we're worried about the environment, etc. So let's go set fire to Tesla dealerships and cars. These people are that crazy at this point. It's hard. It's hard to make this stuff up. It's really putting a crimp on my fiction.
Right. Hey, Jim, we haven't really had a chance to talk to you much since the Seditious.
No, you guys are on a roll here with this domestic stuff. I just agree with Blaine wholeheartedly. It's these people are operating in a bubble of their own creation where they're maintaining power. And a place like California isn't the people of California. California is Sacramento and the people who feed off the largesse of this incredibly stupid spending and complete misallocation of resource. That's California. And before you know it, and it's going to happen in New York too, all of the people who really fund these psychoses in these various liberal cities are going to be gone because they're not going to be able to live in California happily again. It's just an unpleasant place. So he'll keep spending Getty's money, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to, is he'll spend other people's money to maintain power. He'll try to step off on a national level. And there might be enough crazy out there for it. I mean, look at this young woman who just got crushed in Nashville. She got crushed 9 points. She should have been crushed by 30 points.
What?
But,
yeah.
Shame
especially
on
after
the
saying that
Republicans
she
for not
hates
showing up.
Nashville.
I mean, I get it. She should have lost by worse, but at the same time, like, to see them laughing and celebrating and dancing over a 9-point defeat has been
exactly
somewhat.
As Blaine said, there is no fiction left. It's like you can't make this shit up.
Yeah, it's nonsensical what they're doing. Oh boy.
Yeah, the way they posed it, I actually clicked on CNN with the day after the election this week, and they were like, she lost by a mere 9%. And I'm like,
exactly.
I was like, what? 9% kind of tells you that, like, you were way off the freaking mark. Like, you got trounced. Real question for Blue Dawn: does Blade have the audacity for a cartel death?
Well, and I just want to
look. I've been building up to this, Squishy Hunter. It gets really built up in the new book. Yeah, believe me, you're going to want her death, but it's got to pay off. Got to be good.
Hold
on.
Hold it up. Hold that book up endwise again. That looks a lot thicker than
it does. Yeah, that looks like I could hit somebody with it.
It's beefy.
Yeah, one of the things that I've liked about your book, the links is great because it's right at about like 10 to 12 hours on Audible, right? So like that kind of like is a nice, I can easily get through that in a week, right? Just in kind of fix it, fitting it. Now, if you start going into that Honor Harrigan territory where your books are 24 hours in length on the audio books, I mean, it's gonna take a little longer to get through it, but I mean, I'm here for it, Blaine. If you decide to start going into that David Weber kind of Dune kind of thickness on your books, I'm here for it.
The final book is going to be thick because the payoffs have to be there for everybody, and that includes Mr. Dolio.
Well, Blaine, I have a question.
Yeah.
When are you going to start shooting your books instead of signing them like all the other hip authors?
I actually had that discussion with my publisher this week. So funny. Not for Blue Dawn, but for the
tenure would be good.
Tenure series. Yeah. He was like, you got to go buy 50 of your books, shoot holes in them, sign them, and sell them. And I was like, okay.
I'll be honest. I think like when I saw them do that, I knew instantly that was going to become a new trend. That it's genius. I want to buy one.
Joe, it's almost like he needs somebody to help him make that happen. I don't know who we know who has got some property and some weapons already on tap.
It's almost like we've been trying to lure Blaine out to that property literally ever since.
Try not to do that in the winter. Try not to lure.
Right. We'll wait till the spring.
A great
or July.
time to come
Next
here
July
would be July 24th through the 26th. I'm just saying, get it on your schedule now, Blaine, so you don't have to argue about it and whine about it. And you'll run into a lot of great people out here, and it'll be a good time.
And if you bring your better half, there will be Derby pie. I'm just saying.
I guarantee it, as I have for the last 2 years.
And Derby pie has kind of become one of our things now. When we do events, we've got to have a Derby pie,
and now they're made by Watcher, which makes it even better. So
yeah.
You can have a Derby pie handmade by the Watcher on the web. So that's kind of cool. And And
All I'm
Hunt points
thinking
out
of
it
is
would be a
now.
business expense coming out here. So
Well, all I can think of is the pie eating scene in Revenge of the Nerds. So
and you know what else you can do if you come out here?
It's kind of a deep
You
cut.
can shoot brush beater Kyber Pass optics out at our new range.
Yes, and if you want your very own Kyber Pass optics, code CSC10 at brushbeater.store
for only $199.
Well, but
slash collection slash optics. By the way.
well, I think I got to slip this in there. New range provided by Ward Lizard Tactical.
Wagon has exposed himself, however you pronounce that name there, Wagon, whatever, has exposed himself as most likely not an American. Because he said, seriously, what is Derby pie?
Oh, my God.
Ooh.
Well, Wagon, I invite you to
Why
find
don't you
out.
just go ahead and say, this account is based in India? Way to go.
Yeah.
Or Somalia.
Yeah, right. Or
Wagon.
Minnesota.
I invite you to come try and figure out what it is personally in the middle of July, like Joe said, 24th through the 26th.
Yeah.
I mean, if you need a like a illustration, let's see. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. I'm sharing it here in the.
If I had to describe it, I would say it is like bourbon meets cookie meets pie.
It's pie with bourbon in it. Come on. You
It's
could literally
pecan
have an apple
pie.
pie and be like, this is a Derby apple pie.
Do not listen to Jim's scurrilous
It's
lies.
pecan pie with chocolate.
Watcher, please open the link so that we can dissect this.
Putin's act of war is not Derby pie.
It's all about the Derby pie.
I mean, now, actually, you kind of stole the thunder there, Jim. It's like a pecan. If a pecan pie got drunk off of bourbon and then ate a bunch of dark chocolate chips.
And I can confirm this, according to Mrs. Tactical Wisdom, Watcher's pie is better on day 2. So
yeah, could I just say that it is the perfect like cold pie and for breakfast kind of pie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She had a cold piece the next day, and she was like, "How come nobody came and got me?" I'm like, "You literally weren't even on the property. You were not here at the time."
Yeah, I mean, this pie is great. Like still hot out of the oven, but it's great cold too. So
the best part of the story of that week was Watcher and Mrs. Tactical Wisdom carrying on a conversation in the kitchen before they knew who each other were.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was laughter and tears and hugs. It was,
you know what's funny, Joe, is in my experience in the events that I've been to with you, there are a lot of that. That happens a lot of times. Like the one guy, like I can't remember who it was.
Medic Craig.
Yeah, he's like,
we're like 6 hours into it, and he goes, "Oh, you're Scott."
Well, you know what's funny? Your picture's up too. I always have the excuse that I don't look like I sound. So.
Well, Jim was there that day, by the way.
That's right, Jim. You were out there at the.
That was the day when we pulled up, and you're like, "I wonder which one's Jim." And I said, "It's gonna be the dude in the straw hat." And I was
straw hat. All right, let's move on. Next topic here. They really want a war. So, gentlemen, are we all aware of the Salisbury attack?
Most of us don't know it as that. We know it as the Novichok attack.
Right, the Novichok attack. This is where basically Russian agents use Novichok to target some Russian dissidents.
Polonium for the technically minded.
Anyway, and so they targeted them inside of Britain, and I think 2 were killed and 2 were affected. I can't remember the details, but the point is that this is an article from the Telegraph basically saying, hey, listen, this is a war. This was not a war crime. This is an act of war, right? So this is a conditioning story to bring up a state of frenzy within the British populace that would make it possible for the UK to eventually go to war with with Russia.
They need to be very, very careful with this kind of commentary, though.
Exactly right.
Because Putin's about to bust out one of his famous history books and list all of the attacks the British have committed on Russian soil.
Yeah, Blaine?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, too. If you think you can rile up the Britons to go to war, they can't even get riled up about their people being thrown in jail over me.
Well, I think this is more like legal cover, you know?
Please. These guys could you know, they could fuck up a one-car funeral.
Well, you're right about that, especially Keir Starmer and the current people. But you know, you never know who comes out of the woodworks next. All right, let me get into the story here. As Putin continues his war, and just listen to the verbiage. As Putin continues his war in Europe, and as the latest U.S. Brokered peace efforts run aground on the Kremlin's intransigence, the release of the Salisbury Inquiry's report today is a stark reminder that Russia's hybrid war against the West did not begin yesterday. It underlines.
I'm sorry, Scott, but
yeah, go ahead.
That first line was conditioning. They didn't say his war in Ukraine.
War in Europe.
They said in Europe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
100%. That's why I've already read through this, so I want you guys to kind of hear the things that I caught too, right? And that you're on the right path. Let's see. It underlines unequivocally that Putin recognizes no limits, not legal, not moral, and places no value on civilian lives. As we mourn Dawn Sturgis, murdered on British soil using a Russian nerve agent, our prime minister and Europe's leaders must treat the menace of Russia with the gravity it deserves. This time, we can no longer assume that Uncle Sam will automatically be there to shield us from the autocrat intent on pushing westward. You know, I thought Trump was the autocrat.
Go
ahead.
It's too rich. It's too rich. I can't imagine for just a moment. Imagine that your homeland, your hometown, and everyone you know, you're being invaded. You're being invaded by largely Muslims from the north of Africa. And instead of doing anything about that, you decide, hey, you know what? Let's pick a fight with Russia.
Yeah. Right. They're literally they are being invaded and they want to pick a fight with a different country.
Well, think about it. This goes back to the paradox that's always existed around the Ukraine lies that we've been told. The lie is that Ukraine can win the war against Russia. That's lie one. But Russia is a threat to all of Europe, including the UK. Mm-hmm. And it's like you can't have both of those things exist. It's impossible. You know, how can Ukraine defeat Russia? It can't. It's not possible. But they kind of go, well, Ukraine, you know, they're gonna kick Russia's ass. Russia's still got 2 million troops they haven't activated yet, so it's not going to go that way. But at the same time, they're like, yeah, but it's a threat to all of Europe. When not once, by the way, have I seen a good, solid, tangible, validated quote from Putin saying my intent is to conquer Europe.
Yeah. Well, in point of fact, he's said exactly the opposite. Like it'd be crazy for me to go to war against NATO.
Who would want France as part of their country?
Well, oh God, yeah.
Right.
But before we even get to that part, I mean, isn't the guy who like everybody says is his mentor and the guy that he takes all of his political cues from, hasn't even he said essentially the same thing? Like, why would Russia care about Europe?
Yeah.
Europe's already falling to a Muslim invasion internally. They don't have to. Russia doesn't have to conquer them, and I certainly wouldn't want to conquer them in a holy war.
So all this posturing by the various governments is to justify taking the Russian money that's being held in Europe to fund all the stuff that these people have committed to do from a defense standpoint. They're trying to vilify this and make it criminal so that the seizure of the money makes sense, right? And it's funny, the holdouts are the Belgians, and the Dutch are sitting there going, hey, you know, this is a bad precedent to set, which it is, but everybody wants the hundreds of billions of dollars that the Russians have locked up in Europe. And this kind of stuff's going to they've got a checklist and they're going to go down it and they're going to try the pathway to get the EU all wrapped around seizing the money.
I see absolutely no way in which this will escalate radically and ridiculously into the exact opposite of what they're trying to get.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't think we need to go too much further into this. The whole point was just to show how they're doing everything they can to rile the political elites up into some sort of a frenzy in order to focus them on something else other than the absolute dumpster fire of what's happening inside their own country. Blaine, I'm with you. I don't think that they can do any of this stuff. That doesn't mean they don't want to, right? They've got an enemy they want to fight, and that's Russia. But they're A, incapable of fighting him, and B, using this to kind of distract them from the absolute devastation that's happening in their own country.
Yeah,
that they brought in. You know what's crazy? How much a difference Liz Truss was in office? What, in 2022 or is it 23? 23, wasn't it? Anyway, Liz Truss sounds so based at this point compared to Keir Starmer. Now, part of it is that she, I think she's kind of found that that type of politics, can be popular. But it just goes to show you how fucking loony the current leftists in charge of Britain are. All right, moving on to the next story. So got Putin traveling to India to kind of secure his bag. I know India's been pressured by the U.S. To kind of give up on Russian oil. That has had mixed responses, but ultimately India and Russia are Jim, this is the one thing out of all of the kind of interesting new relationships that's developed or solidified. This is the one that I think is the most interesting for long-term impact of both of these countries. I think the other day we reported on a story about potentially importing Indian workers into Russian factories, to kind of help with some of the manpower deficits that are going on within Russia.
I think that's part of our peace deal. If we're going to end the war in Ukraine, you have to take some of the Indians, bro. You just have to.
Yeah, that's right.
Could we send
H-1B reload?
Somalians?
It's the H-1R visa.
It's definitely going to go that way. I think one of the things you got to keep in mind is the Indians have been really consistent. They're going to buy cheap oil from whoever they want to buy cheap oil from.
Yeah.
And given the dance that's being done now about defense systems, the Indians want to keep the option of having access to Russian designed stuff, Chinese designed stuff. So, they're a non-aligned nation, always have been, never really argued about it. They play fast and loose on the edges of empire, and they'll continue to do so. They will play the Chinese against the Russians, against the Americans. It's just going to be the way they do it. The energy guy who was the Minister of Energy right after the war started, he was interviewed by BBC, and they were kind of apoplectic because he just said, hey, look, we're going to keep buying Russian oil because our job is to buy cheap oil for the people of India. It isn't to comply with some global outrage about anything. If it's $20 a barrel cheaper, we'll buy it. Right. And that shit will just go on and on and on.
Well, any oil that they can sell at all is good for Russia at this point.
Well, you see, the problem is good for India too.
Yeah, well, right.
If India gets a 20% haircut on the cost of energy, they love it.
All right.
Cholo, well done.
What's this?
Put Juan Cholo's chat up on the screen. Yeah.
And you pour cheats with pizza.
Oh man, that was
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Lance Corporal veteran for $5. Sad how World War II and U.S. victory versus third world rated militaries has fed an illusion of total victory.
Hey, what third world rated military did we actually beat aside from the Panamanian Defense Force? We lost to the Viet Cong. We lost to the North Vietnamese. In the end, we lost to the Taliban.
We lost to the Democratic Party.
We're even the
well, yes, in every one of these instances, we lost the Democratic Party. But I mean, I suppose militarily, we did kick the teeth of the Iraqi army in.
Well, you know, Vietnam is the perfect example of how you can snatch victory from snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. You win every major battle, absolutely dominate the field of play, but you politically make it untenable to hit the actual center of gravity of the enemy, i.e., the north, where the factories or the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which is where all the Chinese supplies and whatnot were coming down, and then having won all that stuff, then you essentially leave and then set the country up. To do exactly what they did in Afghanistan and allow the country to fall. So, I mean, you know,
I'll be honest. The movie The Green Zone points out where we went wrong in Iraq, right? We had everything won, and we made one stupid decision to completely disband everything they had and start from scratch, which made half of the population feel like they were being shut out of the new coalition government, right? And if we hadn't done that, we might have stood a chance of actually winning in the long run.
Yeah, the ban against anybody who'd served in the party completely lopped the functionality of Iraq off for a decade. But I mean, the reason this kind of stuff is happened and why we'll probably fall victim to it again is the garbage you're seeing right now. Well, we don't shoot to kill, and you don't double tap to kill, and you know the seditious six wandering around. That's why the United States kind of gelds itself. Is we have this dithering class in Washington that will attack anybody for anything, even if it's in the national interest to be out involved in conflict. There'll be people who will call the lawyer class in, and they will file suits, and they will slow everything down. I mean, Jane Fonda was a high-profile play in Vietnam, right? That was what we're seeing. But it's the same shit you're getting now out of the left-wing psychos in D.C. They want to micromanage things, and they want to micromanage them so they don't happen, so that they can take power. It has nothing to do with national interest, and that's our weakness. That's our Achilles heel.
Moving on. So Euro news, with reparations loan for Ukraine, the EU defies both Putin and Trump. So the subheader for this should be, we still want Ukraine to fight and die, despite the fact that both Russia and the United States are actively discussing a potential peace deal. And oh, by the way, Ukraine's in those discussions too.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I heard the ghost of Patrick Fox walk through this chat for a moment there. Really weird.
That was good. That was good.
That's Patrick Fox.
Channel lore. For those of you who are new to the channel, you missed it.
That's exactly right. You know, he's very well known by that famous quote. Some of you will have to die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Well, let's just all remember he has more combat experience than all of us.
Well, he's got more gate guarding experience than all of us.
Hand to gland combat.
You see what you're looking at here, though, is exactly what we were talking about earlier, which is it is about the control of the money flow, so you can take the VIG off the deal. So, understanding the core corruption of Ukraine, reparations loans from the EU for Ukraine. So immediately calculate 20% is going somewhere, right? And what the Europeans want is that 20% to be in Europe.
Yeah.
It's also why they want to pull the Russian money, because they want the Russian money to come in, because that'll sweeten that 20% by 5 or 10%. So the whole goal here is to use the Ukraine situation to underwrite the reindustrialization of Europe. They're going to, it's going to be a shit show. Absolute shit show.
Gene, Gene, the
What'd you say,
thing that
Lorraine?
I know, right? Irene, I'm sorry. So when I saw the peace plan that was leaked out, right? That had, and part of that was the whole reconstruction effort that would absolutely have been a U.S.-led effort. When I saw that, I was like, "There's no fucking way in hell Europe's ever going to let this happen."
Well, there's also no way for the United States to do it, right?
Yeah.
When you hear them say, "Well, we're going to send Bechtel out there and we're going to build this massive facility," and this is reconstructing Ukraine is multi-decade, right?
Yeah.
And in order to, so I was asked to look at this 5 years ago professionally. It's going to take freaking decades to clean the place up, right? The Donbass has been a mess. Luhansk is a mess. It's decimated. The infrastructure's a mess, right?
Yeah.
And most of the infrastructure was old Russian infrastructure held together with baling wire. And
right.
so
now it's
and,
cratered Russian infrastructure that you're going to have to completely replace.
Oh, now it's toxic waste, cratered, bad infrastructure, bad roads, no bridges. Yeah. You just go down the list, right? So the EU guys are thinking, okay, here's the game. We're going to be there for decades making money, right? It's the psychology of the nonprofit world and the socialist infrastructure world. They're going to go after it. But what'll happen is it'll get distorted by individual goals. So there's going to be a guy in the government who says, well, the power plant's going to go right here because this is my uncle's land, right? So I want to be involved in the deal. Well, it's a stupid place for the power plant to go. We want to put it down there closer to the population center and the industrial center where it's needed. So you end up with this kind of unprepared infrastructure investment, and none of it connects well. It's a total fucking waste of time. And the EU is going to fall in this trap. They're just on their way. I can see it. Now, Trump saying the Americans are going to do it all? Hell no. Impossible. That's like saying the Americans are going to reconstruct Gaza.
The American corruption skimming operation known as USAID is effectively gone now. So we don't even have that, kind of infrastructure to skip off from the top. But one of the things that you said, Jim, absolutely applies. So let me read a little bit from the story here. The EU is drawing a line after being sidelined by the White House in direct negotiations with Russia over the fate of Ukraine. Europeans are looking to muscle their way back into the negotiating table. One card they are yet to play is the $210 billion in assets Russian central bank have immobilized under EU sanctions since February of 2022. Under a scheme without precedent in modern history, the EU tends to channel the Russian assets into a zero-interest reparations loan to support Ukraine's financial and military needs for 2026 and 2027 and beyond, and possibly beyond. Kiev would be asked to repay the loan only after Moscow ended its war of aggression and agreed to compensate the havoc wreaked across the country. The plan to make Russia pay, which has been in the works since September, came close to being hijacked last month in a 28-point plan secretly drafted by the U.S. and Russian officials that established the initial terms of the post-war framework. So yeah, that just kind of links those two things directly together.
This is why they're pissed at Trump. They're pissed at Trump because Trump's saying, "Don't loot national assets in Europe." It's a bad precedent. And the EU, this is how the EU was going to achieve its we're screwed, we don't have money, and we can't get anything done. They were going to try to lever this $200 billion of Russian money. And they still may do it, but they've got the Belgians telling them that they can't do it, right? So
well, my favorite part of this is him saying it's unprecedented. What do you mean? What's more precedented than socialists stealing other people's money to make themselves look good?
No, but the funny thing is, right? Everybody's running around talking about international law vis-a-vis blowing up these drug runners. Right. And here you have the EU saying we're going to take $200 billion of sovereign money because they've been baddies for a country that's not even part of our association. It is a mechanism by which you justify taking other people's money. And I'm sitting back laughing because Trump's basically keeps putting a stick in their spokes.
Yeah. So just real quick, it says here the Europeans a controversial point 14 of the new plan drew surprise and ire as it suggested splitting the immobilized Russian assets into two separate investment vehicles that would have allowed both Washington and Moscow to profit commercially. It says here, this is German Chancellor Merz said, if we are serious about this, we cannot leave it to non-European states to decide what happens to the financial resources of an aggressor state that have been lawfully frozen within the jurisdiction of our own rule of law and our own currency.
And that's not international law, that's EU law.
Right.
But under international law, it's a violation. So U.S. has to abide by international law, but the EU wants to circumvent it.
Hey, guys, we're going to prop ourselves up. We know we've lost on innovation. We know we've lost on production.
Exactly.
Our whole future is going to be that we are going to be the litigious ones. We're going to be the most lawful people so that we can enforce our laws on other people.
We're the best rent seekers in the world.
Oh, by the way, we're going to start that off. We're going to kick that all off by breaking our own laws on step one.
Because it's us. So this is the Newsom school. This is the Newsom school of fiscal logic.
Oh my God, Joe, that is too good. The thing you just shared, by the way.
What Liz Truss?
Liz Truss. I just mentioned Liz Truss. Let's take a break from this and let's
listen to Liz.
In 2020.
Now hold on a second. Let me preface this before you push play, watcher. This is the woman who was defeated by a head of lettuce.
Yeah.
All right, now listen.
The office of Prime Minister of Great Britain. I tried to save our country from the doom loop it is now in.
We set out a vision for a low-tax, high-growth economy that would take advantage of the freedoms of Brexit.
I was blamed for a market crisis that was not my fault. The deep state and their allies in the media and politics tried to destroy me because I challenged their decades-long failure. Now I'm back. I will expose the people who brought me down. I will take on the deep state. I will tell the truth about what is happening in our country and across the West. Tune in to the Liz Truss Show every Friday. Tune in to the counter-revolution.
The fact that she does not have a head of lettuce on her table while she's doing this, like with a Wilson thing on it, I'm sorry, that is a huge missed opportunity.
She's fundamentally an unserious person, yes.
You know, here's the thing. I freely am willing to admit that I may have had her wrong on some things. Like, so maybe like we're actually getting some of her real thoughts, but I don't believe that for a second, right? I think that she is another politician. You know, kind of she's conservative in England, which means like maybe moderate left in America, and she's decided this podcast kind of Tommy Robinson light kind of going against the tyrannical Keir Starmer and the left in England is a way forward for her, and I just. It's not going to come. It's fucking AstroTurf. Go. I'm sorry, Jim.
Yeah. The conservatives just completely failed in the UK, and they know it. And she was targeted and taken down, but she really wasn't prepared for how nasty it was going to be. So, but I do like her.
Wrench Turner, thank you very much. Gifted 5 future conflict memberships here over it.
Wrench Turner, I'm sure that you saw this on Twitter, but I'm just going to update you personally since you just gifted us memberships. Your chickens will be processed on the 15th. I should be able to get them to you on the 16th.
That sounds like such a code.
No, yeah, we've been. He's local and he bought a bunch of chickens from me that we raised for him.
Right. And the pigs will be slaughtered Wednesday.
Yes.
That's like a close conversation.
Okay, if you really want to get in trouble, let's use the word Novichok with those series of statements.
Listen, the guy is done with the thing. If you want to come by and see the thing, Thursday might be a good day.
At least as long as they're non-binary chickens, you're safe.
Do you want the gizzards? Yes or no?
Hey, speaking of Novichok, this next story here is we must protect Vladimir. Leaked call shows European leaders conspiring against Trump peace plan. Well, because I get the feeling that a vial of Novichok is in Zelensky's future if he continues.
Did we not pick up the potential assassination story? Because he almost did get assassinated. Well, or at least so forces claim, but he was trying to land in Dublin, and
I saw this, and like a UAV.
Two of them, and they were circling the facility when he was supposed to land, but he ended up landing 30 minutes earlier.
Well, maybe it's the new IRA going after him.
This was just a reaction to Trump saying "F you" to the EU.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's so right. Here's the thing, right? This goes to show how absolutely bankrupt the entire kind of group there in Europe is that Zelensky's their guy. I mean, he is so patently corrupted by this entire process. He's a terrible politician, but he is their guy.
He's the path to money.
Well, yeah, they bet it all on black, right? And
it's exactly right.
Let's see. In a development that's not entirely surprising, European leaders have claiming that Washington is looking to betray Ukraine and President Zelensky. I don't know if you call stabbing somebody in the chest betraying them, but still, during potential formal peace negotiations with Russia, there is a possibility that the United States will abandon Ukraine on territorial questions without providing clarity on security guarantees. Oh, that's interesting that they said that. Like territorial questions are okay if they get some sort of security guarantees. That's kind of a splitting of hairs there. I had not heard Macron say up until now. This is on a leak call record with other European leaders. Likely it was an intentional leak and a bit strong signaling to the Trump administration, as Europe has not been on board with the U.S. president's proposed peace plan. Guys, how many European countries are actively fighting on the ground or involved in Ukraine? I mean, I'm not talking about the spies and the contractors that probably are there. I'm talking about actually. The answer is none, right? So my point is, like, what right is that? I mean, at least Russia is actively involved in this conflict.
A lot of what Trump's doing is literally just sidelining the EU.
Yeah.
He's been doing that since he got back in office, and God bless him for it. He's slamming them right and left. The only thing that he's even remotely agreed on them is their food quality standards and stuff that, RFK Jr. has been running with. Beyond that, he's been basically treating them as the ugly stepchildren.
Yeah. He's got nothing for those people. Let's see. Mertz, who was also on the phone call, said Zelensky should be extremely careful in the coming days and warned that Ukrainian leader was that they were playing games with you and us. Let's see. Finland's president said we must not leave Ukraine and Zelensky alone with these people. After NATO Secretary General Root chimed in, I agree with Alexander. We must protect Vladimir. Volodymyr. Yeah.
Two different people.
Different people. That's true. Let's see. The underlying assumption seems to be that Zelensky is in a weak position and being bullied by the more powerful U.S. officials who have leverage.
But
they have leverage.
Call was We got another Thomas Crooks all lined up.
We got a Ukrainian Thomas Crooks.
No, an American one. That's what they're talking about, in all honesty. They're talking about protecting them from the Americans, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, because the Russians aren't going to get at him. These and other statements reproduced in notes of the conversation illustrated Europeans' deep distrust of the two Trump confidants. Michael Weiss, who was one of the report's co-authors, framed all of this focusing on countering American dirty tricks to end the war.
Wait, I just love the concept of ending the war through dirty tricks. It's like
it's staggering.
No, it's they're not involving you people because you people were the ones that encouraged this shit.
I'm sorry. This needs to be done into some kind of stage play and made into a major motion picture production, and we need to show it in every single high school civics class until the end of time as an example of why we do not get involved with the rat fucks in Europe ever.
It needs to be done like they did the death of Stalin.
Exactly.
You know, it's like Trump walks in and he throws his coat off and goes, "Hey, what's the hero of the American people got to do to get a drink around here?"
Well, oh my God, Jim. It goes back to exactly what you said. The Europeans are ass mad that they're not getting a piece of the pie, right?
No.
Want to make some money.
The pie is their pie. It isn't.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Pie. It's like, this is our pie. We're going to eat the whole damn thing, and you Americans are saying that that's not our pie. Right, and they're going through this contortionist bullshit to justify this stuff. Now, it doesn't change the fact that the Ukraine war sucks and that all these people are dying. I get it.
Yeah.
But Russia and the Ukrainians have a problem, and we're the people who went in and poured the can of gasoline on the Banderites and said, "Let's go." Right? We know this, right? This is truth. And the Europeans know we know, right? But we had people like Biden over there lining their fucking pockets. And so the Europeans are like, okay, we're going to line our pockets. But what's really the problem here is everything keeps Russia powerful. And that's the part that I'm finding bad in this outcome is the Russians are doing fine because they've got the Chinese and the Indians playing both sides. And long term for us, that's bad. But in this case, this is just freaking comical. It really is.
You know, they all want to say we want American defense help until we give it. And then they're like, well, no, not that way. Not that way.
Yeah, not that way. Yeah.
Well, I love Trump this week, which is we're selling them a lot of stuff. We're part of Pearl. They can buy what they want. Awesome.
There you go.
Right? Instead of load the ships up and send it all to them for free, because we know how corrupt the situation is in the Ukrainian war. The Ukrainian war is a civil war. It is a scrappy little civil war about money and power, and it's irritating.
The most irritating part is how many times we've had to say this. I will say it'll be good for who is it that's going to mostly have to deal with all these armed and war experienced Banderites once the war comes to an end? Well, it's going to be these same idiots who encouraged them in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're not going to rebuild there. We're not going to rebuild it. We haven't rebuilt anything since the Marshall Plan. We're really good at destroying countries. We're really good at backing factions who destroy other countries. We haven't rebuilt anything ever really successfully other than the Marshall Plan, and that was giving money to the Europeans to rebuild. I'm done with it. I think that this is all bullshit. If anybody thinks there's money to be made in Ukraine rebuilding, it was a shithole before the war. You're going to elevate it up to a
especially that part. Here's the thing, Joe. I'm going to pose this question to you: who has, in the last 20 years, actual experience in rebuilding a country after a war that devastated most of its urban areas?
A couple of people, but the Americans.
Well, I was going to say, I thought you would go where my mind immediately went, which is what Russia does. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at Grozny.
Look at Chechnya.
Now.
Yeah.
And also, not to mention, they gave some reparations help Gory, Georgia. It's been
tell you who's had some recent experience in it. A certain country that rhymes with Lina.
Yeah.
No, China's really good at putting the troops on the ground and doing things, but not so much about rebuilding.
China has a problem. China has a problem when they deploy to do something. It's very specific, so it's always inside the wire. It's kind of the green zone psychology, and they're 100% in. They don't play well with the locals. Eastern Europe is going to be different. They tried to go into Belarus and use that as a stepping off point for Europe. They've tried to go into Hungary. They don't do so well. Yeah. They can build things like automotive factories that are standalone. Doing an integrated national level project, they could probably do it, but they would piss everybody off. And the Ukrainians would hate them. Yeah, Mariupol is nicer than San Francisco. If you like gravel, it's great.
I prefer gravel to shit, if we're being honest.
Yeah. But it's so this battle of reconstruction, nobody's really proven they can do it since the 40s, right? We've really never had a massive reconstruction effort. It's hard, and it takes 30 years, maybe 40, right? And so Ukraine's going to be a 30 or 40-year program of reconstruction that starts with an assessment of priorities. And it's so political and so corrupt that those priorities will be very difficult to describe.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, just how this shakes out, because somebody is going to reconstruct a lot of that country, and I don't know who it's going to be. And we don't know what it's going to look like.
Well, it's definitely not going to be California high-speed rail.
It's not going to be Gavin Newsom. That's 100% that.
That would be such a good job for him. Put him in charge of reconstructing Ukraine.
Pete Buttigieg.
He would love to single women. All right, I got to bail, guys. I got a guy at the front door, but it's been real, and thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. You're always welcome.
All right, y'all. Be good. Be good out there. Be hopeful.
Last story for the show, guys. Somebody is ready for this war. They're tooling up. Hawkish Baltic states lead Europe's race back to the draft. So we've been European countries have drastically ramped up their defense readiness as a proxy war in Ukraine persists with no end in sight. For example, French President Emmanuel Macron last week announced a new avenue of voluntary military service for 18 and 19-year-olds with the goal of gradually bolstering both active duty and reserve strength. This is part of a trend of the return to military conscription across the continent. After this week, Lithuania announced it will call up 5,000 conscripts in 2026, a significant increase from the previous year.
I want to say that France giving a new way to volunteer is not an increase in conscription.
Right. Yeah. That's correct, Joe.
And they're French.
But it would be just like the French to be like, "Oh, I volunteered. They have forced me." Well, dummy.
Yeah, Joe. What we're going to see is a route for Ukrainians who want to enlist without having to fight Russians in the Foreign Legion, the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. It's gonna be like 1950, where like most of the language of the Foreign Legion in 2027 will be like Ukrainian. After this week, Lithuania announced it would call up 5,000 conscripts. Years ago, Lithuania was the first EU country to restore mandatory military service in the wake of the Ukrainian crisis, centered on Crimea in 2014. The small Baltic country also committed 5 to 6% of GDP to defense through 2030. more than double the existing NATO 2% guideline. It is now expected to expand its conscription plan to run year-round from 2026. Latvia, too, had been amongst the first to restore mandatory service based on concerns Russia could expand action beyond Ukraine. Let's see. Lithuania reinstated conscription. It's not really worth. Okay, so more and more European governments are racing to find the quickest and least expensive ways to expand their forces to face the Russian menace. One European source says bolstering military personnel, whether active or reserve, is increasingly being seen as an emergency backup plan. As defense budgets swell, governments are quietly rebuilding the human backbone of their military. It's not just about guns and tanks. In 2024, the EU member states collectively spent more than $343 billion on defense, which is 1.9% of GDP. Much of that went to personnel and readiness. The report suggests that at the moment, Washington seems to be taking more of a wait on the sidelines approach to military supporting Ukraine. The Europeans are scrambling to make it up for the potential major lack of NATO manpower. NATO currently has 3.4 million personnel, according to the latest data. But if you take the U.S. out of the equation, the Western military alliance is left with 2.1 million active troops. Only 1.5 million of that belong to EU countries. So yeah, they're tooling up, because Joe, you don't. If they didn't mean to fight a war, they wouldn't be spending any of this money. They would just be, blowharding it and then not doing much. But they're actually starting to, like Germany is starting to actually spend money on war, like weapon systems.
On actually fixing their tanks, yes.
On actually fixing the tanks, and they've got a new Leopard 8. What is it? The A8 now is out, and so.
I actually challenged that Rheinmetall USA, based in Warren, Michigan, does more research and development than Rheinmetall in Germany.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, because
I don't think Putin's quaking at the fear of the Lithuanian army. I'm not picturing that keeping him up.
We're going from 3 battalions to 4.
Yeah, in fairness, active armed forces in Lithuania is only 16,000, which is less than what you would have in a division in the U.S.
We call that a speed
like
bump.
I said, 4 battalions.
Right. Yeah, that's like a liaison force for the Americans who show up to defend their country.
Yeah.
That's the PAs.
Yeah, right. Exactly right. Now, let's see. Just looking at this chart here, Finland's got 23,000 active, Estonia 7,000, Latvia 6,000, Hungary is 32,000, Lithuania 16, Slovakia only has 12, Romania is a pretty big military at almost 70,000, Bulgaria is 36, Cyprus has 12,000. But on which side?
You want to know how you get a war with Russia? You start raising an army saying, I'm raising an army to go to war with Russia.
Right. So, right, Blaine, this is what it comes back to, right? And if they didn't think that they might really, if they didn't think it was realistic that they would fight this war, they wouldn't be increasing their militaries, right? There is some element within these European countries that think they will actually likely to do this again.
I will offer a counter to that, Scott. I think their real concern is that if there's a war that comes, the United States isn't going to go fight for them.
100%.
That's the real concern that's there. Otherwise, they would have been raising an army long before now. This is all about the fact that the United States is going, if you guys screw this up and start up a war with Russia, we're not going to rush in and do this with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right there, Blaine. Real quick, Derna 2 for $5. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I saw the Lithuanian Expeditionary Force in Kabul. The guy was huge.
Wow.
Punch the Dirty Roofer for $2 over on Rumble says, be honest, 16K is the general officer staff and support. Yeah, I mean, you do have you have staffs of several thousand people in the U.S. Army. So, gentlemen, that's all I've got for the show today. Thank you for being here. Let's go around the horn. Hey, Joe, looking at the weekend, we're still got the Venezuela thing is still kind of actively not happening, but it's still active. Anything that you're seeing that kind of indicates we might be closer to the shoe dropping?
No, the NOTAM is still in place, but keep in mind that NOTAM expires in February. So I would say that that's something that's going out there. For those who don't know, a NOTAM is a notice to airmen, and it's issued by the U.S. government. It says, don't go anywhere near Venezuela or the ocean to the north, which is where our naval assets are all sitting. And it says that that airspace is hostile. So there is a possibility for kinetic action at the drop of a hat, but we haven't seen any other indicators. So what I would actually watch for on this is more domestic strife related to it. They're trying to throw everything on the wall and make it stick about this being illegal, the orders being illegal, and none of it is actually not none of it's real, right? Like the whole shooting a target again thing, then literally everything we ever did in Iraq, Afghanistan, all the way back to Vietnam or all the way back to World War II is literally illegal, right? Because we constantly hit targets twice. This is what you do, right? And so I don't think that you're going to see anything stick on it, but I think you're going to see a lot more rhetoric ramp up on it. And they're going to try to get something to happen. And we're derailed by Franklin yet again. These are just absolutely great. What I saw was Franklin reads George Floyd's autopsy report.
By the way, I recommend everybody, if you want to see something interesting, just go and put Mariupol and 2025 in YouTube and check out the videos that are coming out of there. It's a very different city than we saw when we were covering.
I mean, look at Grozny, right?
Yeah. Franklin shares his politics and things like that. These Franklin books are great. I mean, somebody eventually is going to make an entire AI Franklin book that is just
there was one with Joe Biden coming up behind him, and it says Franklin meets Joe Biden.
Look at the one in the like Franklin. Charlie Kirk is my hero. All right,
love it.
Blaine, what do you think this weekend? Anything you see in the ether kind of bubbling up?
No, I just think the fact that Trump has dropped that there might be boots on the ground in Venezuela tells me that boots are not going to be on the ground in Venezuela. I just, I think they're going to find a way to extract Maduro and to destroy some of the cartel's key assets and then walk away. And it's going to leave everybody dumbfounded, on Capitol Hill and around the world, because it's going to send a fear into them. This is more about sending a clear message to Mexico than it is about Venezuela.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I think we've seen reaction from that ditzy woman running Mexico this last week about this, and it's because the message is being made very clear. And her alliances are being very much exposed by her comments.
Yeah,
the Israeli spy, some would say that. Running with
new rule: anytime someone says Mexico, we have to say Claudia Sheinbaum. just to remind everyone who's in charge.
Yeah,
of the Cosmo Sheinbaum family.
Exactly right. Anyway. Watcher, what do you think?
Honestly, I'm looking domestic. The leftist weirdos are in a very weird place. Tim Walz, who was pretty high up in the party as of very recently, is probably going to jail for a lot of this shit that's happened. Like, not just losing an election. The guy, like, there's so much credible evidence here of criminal wrongdoing that he and a lot of the people in the establishment there are going to jail. I think that the left knows that, and I think that they are starting to feel particularly desperate. And I think that you're going to start to see some crazy shit start to happen over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he's the perfect patsy for the, he's the right skin color to go to jail for all this. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't absolve some of his Somali allies on the way out the door. But I'll be honest with you, I could absolutely see a giant Somali exodus from, Joe. I get the feeling that they're going to find so much immigration fraud when they start peeling that onion back that, I mean, I don't know how almost any of these Somalis stay. And now there are probably, with every group, there's some good ones in there that are doing everything right. But I get the feeling that this is one of those pyramid schemes that are just.
Yeah, this reminds me of something I wanted to point out earlier in the show that one of the media talking points the left is using is ICE detained a U.S. citizen. ICE detains lots of U.S. citizens for lawful reasons, such as harboring an illegal alien, providing documents to illegal aliens, hiring illegal aliens. It's okay. Immigration fraud, marrying a foreigner. It's okay for ICE to detain U.S. citizens.
Right.
Happens all the time, and they usually deserve it.
And Scott, to counter you, I'm going to say they're not going to catch them so much on immigration fraud. The biggest fraud that was perpetuated in the last 10 years was the money that went out during COVID.
Yeah.
And we're only seeing the tips of the iceberg at this point. And see, it's a real novel approach because they've gotten to these Somalis because of their abuse of the system. And so they're going to use the system to kind of track down various groups beyond Somalis who have extorted this money and misused it. The next 10 years, we're going to see people go into jail as a result of fraud associated with these funds that came out during the pandemic.
I think you're 100% right, Blaine. I think it'll be kind of a two-wave type of thing. I think the first ones will be the ones that get, and I think it will be mostly kind of the ringleaders on this fraud. The people who can really put up dollars against. I bet that there's a lot of kind of a few chiefs and a lot of Indians in this kind of a kind of thing. And then I think that next layer that next cut will be the immigration fraud. I think, when you start digging into this type of a hive of scum and villain, you start finding all kinds of things, and the least of which will be immigration fraud.
Yeah.
If they don't call this Operation Irene, they're missing an opportunity.
Operation Irene. I know.
And we saw it down in Louisiana this week that you had businesses putting up signs saying no ICE agents are allowed in our business. You're practically broadcasting that you've hired illegal people.
Yeah.
There's going to be some businessmen that lose their business as a result of this. And they've known it all along. They've capitalized off these illegal immigrants in our country, these illegal aliens.
I tell you, the funny part that's going to come down about that is there's a lot of CEOs that probably ordered it, but it's going to end up being the HR ladies who go to prison because they're the ones who actually physically did all the work.
Yeah.
That's going to be fucking hilarious.
It's going to be an entire Karen wing of the federal prisons.
Yeah. Gosh, many things to look forward to. But I would look. One of the things I mentioned when I say Democrats, I should have been more specific. I'd look for like Somalis, probably particularly. I think you're going to start to see a lot of like lashing out about the narrative that's going on.
Yeah. I think, there's a lot of stuff that's going to shake out of this. Like, I think we are literally just scratching the surface on the Somali hive here. So,
well, it's going to be they're going through all their Islamophobia talking points and doing a search and replace and putting in Somalia at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard to say Somalia-phobia. Try it.
Exactly. But nobody's scared of Somalis, but they are,
Right.
you know. All right, gentlemen. That's all I got for today. Thank you for being here. Blaine, thanks for jumping in. I appreciate it anytime that you're able to join. As always, you bring a lot to the show.
Cool. I wrote
good-
2 books while I was on here. So
I know. I don't doubt. Here's what, Blaine. I feel like I'm doing the world a disservice when you spend 2 hours on the show with me. That's like a half a book you could have written.
pretty much.
You know. All right, brother. Appreciate you. Guys, thank you for being here. Chat, you guys were awesome as always. I think I got all the super chats in. Oh, I don't think I did this one. Is he that low on the poll that he would go to jail? Yeah, I think so. I think he is that low on the poll. All right. Thank you very much. If you would please be so kind as to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Let everybody know you're getting some good stuff over here with your friends on the Council on Future Conflict. For all of my guests, thank you very much. And chat, as always, we will be back on Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, stay safe.